Hello, and welcome to the Infinite. This week with no countdown into when we start.
No.
For Jack. I'm joined by 80% of the cast. Madi could not make it, unfortunately. Maybe in a perfect world, she will join us later. But I'm joined by the Intrepid crew. Say hello, the Intrepid crew.
Hello, the Intrepid crew.
The Intrepid crew.
I was first.
Yeah. I was trying to get a longer one, and then I couldn't be bothered. I don't want to start off with that energy, but I couldn't get that for a sentence. So, how's everyone doing?
I'm doing well.
80%.
About 80%. Everything about this episode is at 80%, because it's the 8th episode. That's how it works. Synergy. But we're going to jump in since we're starting a bit late. And our camera opens on a rainy, grey city. It is a city. It is under atmosphere in which rain is falling. The rain is an approximate type of water, although with slightly different chemical makeup to make it a little bit hotter when it hits your skin. It's like boiling as it falls, and so when it hits you, there's a discomfort that you don't get with normal rain of heat. The camera kind of pans down, and there's a very kind of Victorian London feel to the darkness of this city. There's a lot of stone buildings. They're obviously machined stone, but it's stone that is very dark. There's a lot of warm light as opposed to the bright, sterile light that a lot of cities are lit with. And the camera flies down through this rain. We get the occasional droplets on the lens until it hovers above a long alleyway, maybe 100, 120 feet along this alleyway. And the camera, as a bird's eye shot, we get the top of a head that we recognize as the top of Valus's head, walking down this alleyway. The camera swings down to kind of be Valus's point of view, and you see, stepping out, silhouetted against the warm light of the city, from this dark abyss within this tall vertical city. A figure. But more importantly, you see in the hand of that figure it looks like a little object, but then you hear the probably not that familiar to Valus, but to everyone watching, the familiar sound of like a blade slipping out of like a switchblade type mechanism. And a voice says, "Well, you've been looking in places you weren't meant to. But you're not going to be seeing anything after this. And I need you to roll quickness."
Right.
You have advantage, because Valus, the audience perhaps is surprised, but Valus is unsurprised by this attack.
$19.
All right. So you hear behind you another sound, and the camera pans, but Valus, you don't turn yet. The camera pans to see at the other end of the alley a similar silhouetted figure, but this one holding what looks to be a kind of like a junk pistol that's been cobbled together by stuff. This planet is theoretically meant to be no weapons, but given the fact that you got in with your weapons, you think it's pretty lax. But you are first, as you kind of clock that there's a person behind you at the mouth of the other alleyway, and in front of you at the way that you're going, and they're both about 50 feet away from you.
Okay. I think we see Valus almost wordlessly and quite suddenly to the other two, full sprint forward while taking a couple shots, which I'll roll for. I don't have my fancy gun, so
yeah, you're a -1 because you have a
only plus
a
8.
Gun. Yeah, only a +8. Shooting at the person behind you or in front of you?
The person in front of me.
That does hit. They are wearing basically clothes. Because also unusual to be wearing armor in this place. So yeah, roll damage. You just take off. Normally, these thugs. There's a d20 that you rolled.
Oh, oops. So I'll just reroll the whole thing.
Yeah. I was like, it's a weird die shape. Normally,
I was like, that seems like a valid value for a d10.
Yeah.
12 would be even better.
How much? Normally, these thugs are used to their prey being surprised, and you just barrel forward, pulling up your pistol, and it catches this person in the shoulder, knocking them back. There's a bright green fizz around them as their shield breaks, and they're pushed back into the light. It's not someone that you recognize. They're maybe a little bit shorter than you, about the same kind of build, but they have a long tongue flicking out of their mouth to kind of lick at the rain that's just hitting their face. And as they hold the switchblade out, you can only make one attack, right? You said a couple of shots.
Correct.
So.
I will, if I can, my plan was to, bonus action to actually move past him in the alley so that I have both of them in front of me.
Yeah, you'll move out of the alley into the light, but you know that this time of night there's not really people around anyway. So, we see you crash out of the blackness of the alley into the warm, lamplit streets, and he doesn't even for a moment register that you've gone past him. So quick is Valus compared to a normal person, that he's still looking down the alley, and it takes him a moment to turn. Over his shoulder, it says disadvantage because he's firing out of very, very dark light into bright light. Over his shoulder, a laser shot just crashes into a building nearby, and then he moves towards you. This blade, as you see it, is it's slightly longer than a switchblade, but it's got a blood red blade, and he menaces you with it and will make an attack, which 16 misses, I assume.
Yeah, that's going to miss.
So he just slashes at you. It probably catches your coat, which is your, in the time period that we're in, the equivalent of your armor now.
Yeah.
Catches your coat, and it just doesn't even cut through the Kevlar nature of your coat. He says, "You could just lay down and die. Be much easier for us, much more polite."
So the aesthetic of this place is neo-Victorian. Is that what I'm to understand?
It's very black and warm light.
Okay, so instead of Valus's normal, more formal, maybe even 50s big coat, they now have a Victorian style great coat on, and they're dressed much more in pseudo Edwardian fashion, but it's very sci-fi'd out. So it's all a little bit extra elongated and whatnot.
Wait.
And he draws what to everybody else looks kind of like a cavalry sword. And he says, in the accent that he's using for this particular place, "You want to dance? Let's dance." And I'll...
Yeah, make your attack. We see the camera pan behind you as you go, move to make your attack, and down the alleyway, in the darkness, the silhouette with the gun moves towards you. It's wearing a top hat that's kind of jaunty and off center, but on the top of it, there's an advertisement for a local diner because he sold top hat real estate for his advertisement. But yeah, you can make your attack with a cavalry sword, which is a sword.
Yeah, it's got a sword. That's another 14.
Well, it still hits.
I really
the
like
guy's
the
armor hasn't
sixes today.
changed. You rolled quite badly.
Yeah, I haven't been rolling super
these
well.
D20s, but they're kind of just idiots.
I'm rolling good on damage though.
Yeah. You. What type of attack are you doing to him? Like, what does it look like?
This is very much like a like slash across the chest, like one step forward slash into him.
He tries to catch it on the dagger, just completely failing. And you slash past it. You see this kind of it's like a dark bluish blood kind of pool around the cut, but he's still standing and he's still breathing pretty heavily. A gunshot very funny. A gunshot cuts through the alley, catching him in the back, as the guy can't really get a beat on you and rolled very poorly.
My plan is working.
He's thrown forward, which will give him disadvantage on his attack. Oh, that was good. That was bad. 11 to hit.
Oh yeah, no, that's just...
he gets knocked forward and he's trying to like stab you with this knife, and he just has the wrong momentum and he just misses completely. You like sidestep it, but you're back up. He looks real bad. Like, you've seen enough people take big injuries. You know your first shot was good, and you know that your slash was good.
Okay.
So he looks very bad.
I will... so he's, like, not prone, but he's on the ground at the moment. Or fictionally enough.
Yeah, sure. He's on the ground
for
the purpose of fiction, but not advantage.
Yeah, that's fine. I think what I want to do is, like, point my sword down towards him. I've still got the gun in the offhand, so I'm going to point that at the alley. And I'll just say, you sure you want to keep doing this?
Make me a leadership check with no ranks in leadership.
Okay. Yes.
Which is, I think, what you were at before becoming a vice captain unexpectedly. You can have advantage. He's like in real bad shape.
Sure. So it would be 2. $16. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it was enough. He didn't roll a high enough willpower to beat it, and he says, okay. He kind of looks at his friend and says, he's not going to stop, though. I'm the reasonable one.
Can I still take a shot at him in that case?
Yeah, he's kind of helping you to be like, yeah, okay, I don't want to die, but he's crazy. He sold part of his top hat as advertisement. That's how you know he's crazy.
Yeah, that's the crazy bit. That's a dirty 20.
That hits. Yeah.
10 points of damage.
Yeah. You don't see a shield fizzle as your shot cuts into this guy. It catches him in the abdomen. It slows him down for a moment, but he still keeps running, trying to get out of the darkness to kind of see you better, and will make a shot at you. The other guy is opting out. 22 to hit.
That does score me just barely.
You take 6 points of damage.
Okay, so my shield's burst, and then there's like a little bit of a scratch on me.
Yeah, you get this this laser that just burrows through your shield, and there's a moment of like the laser versus shield battle before your shield breaks away and you feel like a sear of heat. Not really a significant wound. The other guy's not doing anything. Back to you.
Okay.
The guy on the ground failed his willpower check enough that he shouts out to his friend. He's like, Mikoth, behind you, to give you advantage. Because he's like, I killed that guy. He's a fuck. Like, I want to live.
Oh, sorry. I didn't roll as you said it. Just gonna roll an extra d20. Let's see.
I'm going to tell you right now for free that a 12 misses.
Okay. What about 13?
13 does hit because he does not have good AC. 13 would have missed this guy.
I will. That's 8. Actually, no. I'm fine where I'm at.
Yeah, he like takes the bullet full in the chest. You use bullet guns, right?
Yeah. I will take the dodge action, but he doesn't like really move. He just tenses, waiting.
Sure. The bullet catches him in the chest. He stumbles forward out of the alley, raising the gun, and you can see in his eyes the look of someone that doesn't lose. Like, he is absolutely, his friend was right, that he's absolutely like, he will die before he stops coming at you. And he raises his gun to take a shot. The first one would absolutely hit, but as the bullet comes towards you, time like slows down a little bit because so familiar are you with the battlefield that you are missed with a 17.
I lean into it enough that the jacket takes it.
Yeah, it's like the difference between missing the jacket and hitting you in the chest, and just like catching a lapel, and it catches a lapel. But he's also not going to fall for his friend's trickery again.
Is he? I'm forgetting how it works in this particular. Can I still offhand attack with bonus action?
No, you have to have an ability.
I have to have that ability. Okay, I'm sure because there's the ability that gives you an extra one, but I couldn't remember if I saw the other one.
That's a sharpshooter specific one, I think.
Got it. In that case, I will just line it up. Take what I hope to be the last shot. The 21.
Yeah, that hits. How would you like to end this person's life?
I think it's like right as they're hitting the light, we see whatever this person looks like.
Most get a shadow under the top hat brim, but you get like the bottom half of their mouth because it's like on a tilt. You get the bottom half of their mouth and their jaw. They've got a really, really square jaw, but their skin is like a mottled, almost scaled gray and blue.
Right.
But you don't see anything above that.
The shot like takes them in the jaw, and they kind of wheel, the top hat falling down and rolling in the alleyway.
There's this silent moment of the top hat rolling, and it looks like a normal top hat till the advertisement comes back around for like Steve's Space Pie Diner. Get the best pie and dinner. But yeah, the alley falls silent. There's like a heavy breathing from the injured man on the ground next to you. There's really nobody around. This is pretty late at night. You kind of planned for if anything was going to happen, it would be late at night.
I'm gonna look down at this guy, sword still kind of vaguely pointed in his direction, and I say, now let's see if we can't learn a thing or two about your boss.
He handled most of our work. He'll have something on him. It's like a little. He like holds up a circular thing of like a medallion. So it's got red on it. It's got a like hologram message.
Where can I find him?
He shrugs. He has no idea. But you get the impression that he is the lackey to the person you just killed. And he says, I don't know. He's like a big deal in the city. I think he's like the deputy mayor. That is the person you're looking into. But I don't know anything beyond that. We got paid pretty good. The only reason I took this job. Well, not getting paid now, I guess.
I think Val's kind of see him like think for a moment. Then he says, "Thanks for the tip. Get out of here."
He had dropped the knife and he doesn't pick it up because he's worried that looks like an act of aggression, and he begins to scrabble away until he gets up to his feet, and he runs off and kind of looks back at you, and on the way past picks up the top hat and puts it on his head and runs off. He's wearing a long-tailed coat, so it looks a little bit like someone scurrying through Victorian London.
I think Val's at that point just calmly holsters everything and starts walking over to the body to essentially, turn out their pockets and for any other evidence he can find.
Yeah, it's not. If you didn't know that you were looking for something in particular, you might not find this little medallion-shaped thing. He has a cred stick that has a very minimal amount of credits on it. Most of his credits are probably on his smart slab, which you can't access. The medallion, as you find it, also his gun's garbage.
I just break it, toss the pieces.
Yeah, you can't put it back together once you've taken it apart, so it's uncleanable. But you do find it's cut into the lining of his coat. There's a hidden pocket. It's a small bronze medallion, but that kind of old bronze where it's gone a little bit green. And then on top of it, in immaculate red stone, is this intricate weaved kind of pattern of red. So it kind of looks like rivers of red running around the top of this medallion. And then in the very middle of it, there's what looks like an indentation that you could push. It looks very low-tech to be a hologram message. But as you push it, a message, like a hologram pops up. It's a very small hologram. It's like a Star Wars hologram.
Yeah.
Where it's him, but quite small. You can tell that it's the man that you're looking for. He says, okay, you just have to kill this Valis man, or whatever your name is in this place. I assume you have a fake name here.
Yeah.
You just have to kill this man that's been looking for me into me. He can't know anything about the strand of red, and he absolutely cannot know that I hired you. You should also dispose of this message as soon as you've heard it. But you know that. And the 5,000 credits will be deposited into your account. And then it just ends.
Yeah, I guess we hear in Alice's more regular voice, well, I guess I'm only worth 5K around here. Attempted murder, that's one charge. Shove the medallion in my own pocket.
Sure. So he's definitely... He's dead in the sense of he is about to die. Even as you're going through his pockets, his breathing's so shallow. And as you're probably about to leave, and you can feel, just having been around people dying frequently enough, that he is about to die, you see his eyes flash open. And he's staring not really at you, but at your chest. And he's murmuring something that you're... you can make a perception check.
I think this started at 2.
You can roll it with whatever you're at now. It's fine.
Okay. It started at 1. I will roll at 5.
Sure.
That's why we keep a log, people.
Yeah, I had to do a log file handwrite the other day. I'm like, okay.
19.
You kind of see his mouth moving, and then you move towards him in case he's saying something of relevance, and he's just murmuring the word in their language that you're getting through your universal translator, and it's just the word red over and over and over again. And I need you to make me a spirituals check, which I assume hasn't changed since level.
No, I have nothing. I mean, I have a +3 because I'm very wise, but
Yep.
ooh, 22.
For a moment, you see a flash of what he's experiencing in this last moment, and you see this bright, vivid red strand that is unraveling. It's like a strand of yarn or twine, and it's unraveling, towards his chest as his life ends. And you look down at where he's looking, and the other end of that strand is coming out of your chest. And then it ends on him, unravels, he dies, and as you see it on your chest, it just kind of evaporates. And it's a really weird experience because you're not a spiritual person, but it is like an experience of a religious nature that you're having in this moment. But you would say that the evidence that you got that this person tried to kill you is enough to really bury the political ambitions that you were starting to look into. So you are kind of job complete for this area, and they're not paying you an enormous amount. Nothing like the Green Call was paying you.
I think if we're wrapping up, we will just end on Valis now walking into the alley. The mist kind of drapes around him before he inky blackness, and maybe that turns into the cut.
So we cut from Valis walking into this. It's not foggy because but it's the hot rain hitting the cold stones is sort of making steam burst up, and you kind of walk into an inky fade out, and instead of the camera pulling back to the current, it pulls up to the city, and we see a city map with these tiny strands of red all over the city. And then we pull further out and further out until the camera pulls to the bridge of your ship, where Valis, you've been up piloting for maybe 2 hours more than normal at this point.
And doesn't really seem tired or anything like that. Have we left at this point? Have we made the jump?
I meant to ask, you spent the credits to get all of your hull repair stuff. You didn't repair it all in time because it was just Nick's working on it for 4 hours.
Sure.
Did you also need to buy fuel? They will tell you.
We have
fuel. So I thought we had enough for another.
Yeah, we have more than enough. Let me tell you exactly. It's 20 per jump for us, right?
Yes.
My memory.
Yes.
Yeah, so we have enough 3 more jumps. I think maybe because Valis is slightly paranoid. I think since we can, he would have bought another jump worth of fuel so that we're still at 3 jumps.
They're selling it at Imperial Standard, and you're about to fly into pirate space. So you don't know when you're going to get that price again, so having another jump is not bad. But yeah, you're a day out, maybe. It's the next day. Everybody went to sleep. Valis, you found it very difficult to sleep because your body is not telling you when you're tired. Which is a little bit challenging. Or great. Who needs sleep? You can decide for yourself. But yeah, it's probably the next day.
All right. I think Valis is now kind of remembering that we have other stuff to do. It's going to assuming it's not too late or early, we'll call. I think I'll call Lucira, like just pinging the board next to him, to, or he'll just say "Hey, Teresa, can you call Lucira for me? I just want to. We need to divide the money. I kind of got lost in the shuffle when we came back."
Yeah, Lucira comes in, and I think has already divided the money. Almost certainly, Lucira is more on the ball than Valis is.
That would make sense, especially in this situation.
And basically explains that you were paid 45,000 for the job, which Lucira paid. Put how many of the are you 6? Put 3,000 of that towards the ship stuff, and then split the rest 6 ways, 7K credits each. Lucira might retcon this, or if you have a different input, we can do it that way. But then you get your 5K for your hazard pay. So you're getting 12, everybody else is getting 7, and 3K towards the ship money, which is currently the stuff that Alejandro paid you.
Right.
And Lucira does it all very matter-of-factly, despite the fact that I'm pretty sure if you've been on the bridge for 2 hours longer, Lucira was about to fall asleep. Because of the nature of Lucira doing the morning shift and you doing the middle.
Yeah.
But I think Lucira is the face of professionalism in that moment. You repaired 1 hull in the 4 hours, by the way. For 1 person working on it.
We're only down 5 now. I think in that case, Valis is just kind of. I think he knows that he's gone for too long, so he will call over whoever is next, which I think is normally Kid, to just keep an eye on things. And then, since he's not tired, we'll go down to the kitchen.
Sure. Kid, normally what you do is you wait till you see the elevator move a couple of times, and they're at like really scheduled times. But this time you do get a message from Valis that's like, hey, come look after the bridge.
Kid. Kid will go. Though they will also fight down the urge to, like, well, now that I'm being told to, I don't necessarily want to go. I'll go anyway.
Kid's inner rebel is just like,
yeah. If it
it's
helps,
like a cold time for me.
He's probably phrased it like, hey, I'm taking off for the day.
Okay, yeah, in that case, Kid's like, okay, I can wrap this around in my head to where it fits my own internal narrative better.
Well, somebody has to. Valis would just leave it unlooked after. So yeah, we see Valis head down to the kitchen. Kid waits for the elevator and heads down to the kitchen.
Does Kid see Valis heading to the kitchen?
You'll see the elevator not come up because you'll have like gone to wait for it, and it will be like floor 3 or 4. I don't have the map in front of me. 3 or 4, and then it will be going downwards as opposed to up. So you are aware that Valis certainly didn't go the normal way to the barracks.
Kid will use contest clues and kind of like pause, probably mid-step to getting to the deck. Hey, Teresa?
Yes, Kid?
Could you make sure to sporadically remind our Valis not to... He cuts really fast, and he can't really feel anything, so I just don't really want to feel like getting up for a midnight stack and finding a thumb in a bowl. So, yeah.
Teresa says, I will add it to the list of reminders for the ship. And we see in Teresa's internal, reminders, there's, a red Clover, make sure Valis sleeps. Lucira, make sure Valis sleeps. Alejandro, make sure Valis sleeps. Kid, make sure Valis sleeps. Nyx, I think, reasonably not a hypocrite. But, Charlie, you're welcome to have Nyx have put one on as well to make sure Valis sleeps. Charlie even here?
I think so. They cut it in and out.
All right. Well, we'll say that Nyx is not a hypocrite in this case. And to be corrected. But yeah, the bridge is as normal. You're kind of at faster than light travel. It's very blurry, and you seem to be going in the right direction. Valis, you are interrupted probably every 15 minutes or so by Teresa going, Vice Captain, somebody has asked me to remind you that you should go to sleep.
Sure. I'm just having a pre-dinner snack. Or pre-sleep
Teresa doesn't
snack.
respond to that. Teresa doesn't respond to that because that's not part of her requirement. But 15 minutes later, when you're eating, Teresa says, somebody else has requested that I remind you to go to sleep.
Is there a snooze button on this alarm clock?
You would like to snooze this reminder?
Yeah. Can I get an hour?
Sure. This reminder will not trigger for an hour, Vice Captain.
Can I snooze any other reminders for an hour?
Do you know the person that asked for the reminder and the timing of the reminder?
No.
Unfortunately, I cannot help you, for it would be a breach of privacy.
Right. If I lay down and go to sleep for a minute, does that satisfy your warnings? What happens if I fall asleep? Are you going to wake me up to tell me to go to sleep?
I think Teresa says, provided that your cabin is in privacy mode, I will not be able to contact you at all unless it's an emergency state, which only you could call.
Okay.
Or the actual captain.
If anybody asks, he will finish his food. If anybody asks, I'm in my room.
Sure, I cannot divulge the whereabouts of crew unless in emergency situations.
Even though I'm telling you?
Your telling me does not override that particular privacy protocol.
Interesting. Okay. I go to my room and I turn privacy mode on.
Sure. Is privacy mode ever off for you?
I don't think he's ever had
because
it
people
on
can ping
until
you.
now.
Okay. Yeah, you are in your room, safe in the knowledge that Teresa cannot interrupt you with a reminder that you didn't set. An hour passes, and then the one that you snoozed because you did control that one comes up. If you're awake, Vice Captain Valis, this is the reminder that you snoozed that you should sleep.
Valis is probably is the most redneck thing that he's ever done on screen is sitting in the shower with a beer or some kind of drink.
You hear it from another room. Teresa doesn't have bathroom access on the ships.
God damn it.
Of course not.
Thank you.
But this continues most of the time. We're going to abstract through some stuff. Charlie, are you alive?
Hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Did you watch the previous episode? Did you catch up? Because I realized I didn't recap what happened. Charlie has died once more.
No, I got 10 minutes in between children asking me what was happening and me being afraid to.
Quick recap.
them here
Valis cannot
because-
feel anything.
yeah.
Yes.
Like any detrimental bodily like need and stuff. Valis could not get drunk right now, which who knows how much that's.
No, I'm not dead. I'm right here.
Sure. That was a while ago that I said that. Yeah. So Valis, I'm gonna type this. Does anybody have anything they want to do in this trip?
No, nothing other than I think Dallas probably to the chagrin or worry of the rest of the party is still going to do their weapons training. So that's like the only other thing he's doing.
Sure. You will find that you, I think, always have somebody watching your weapons training, or someone in the same area, just in case. So it takes about 20 days because you're doing 2 jumps worth of distance, because you can't jump diagonally. So it takes about 20 days until you arrive in sector whatever I told you it was last time, and that I have forgotten because I didn't write it down.
It's like one sector down, right?
549. It's one across and one up. So you arrive in sector 549, coming out of faster than light travel. It actually probably takes you about 19 days. We're like slightly faster than a normal ship, but not enough that it's like a reliable speed increase. And you arrive. Teresa does the same thing, brings up a star map of 549, and it registers no civilized areas. You have the card that I think Lucira was given, and you're kind of looking at it, and it's got a like 18-digit beacon code at the bottom of it that operates like where a phone number would be. And without really much else to go on, I think Lucira probably just puts that code in and tries to hail it. It takes a moment before somebody pops up on a voice-only line, and the voice says, "Hello, how can we help you at the Moreno and Penderis Institute?"
Is everyone on the bridge right now?
Yeah, because whenever you come out of Fast and Light, everyone's there to see the map.
Okay.
This is something cool.
I think normally I would let Lucira handle this, but since
Lucira's feeling a little nauseous.
yeah, they're
basic.
He will say, yes, we were told to contact you if we were in the area by Kevin, and we were also hoping that we could get some medical treatment, possibly.
Okay, make to these coordinates. The beacons are down because of pirates, obviously. And they send through some coordinates, and they say, we'll be expecting you shortly. You know your ship has no designation, right?
It is an issue we hope to resolve shortly.
Great. Kevin, you said?
Yeah, that's what he gave his name as.
Okay.
Kevin. Excellent. And what's it, Wyvern or something like that?
Fantastic. Please make towards our coordinates.
Okay.
It's not that long to get there. It's maybe a 5-hour journey at system speed, and you arrive at a perfectly spherical asteroid that looked like it was mined of a surface material and then kind of left as just a floating chunk of rock. It's not enormously large. but it is large enough that you have to circle around to find the starport at which to land, which is about the same size as Intelligent Growth's landing pad. Could I get, as you come in, Kid and Valis to make perception checks? I thought about this perception check for ages and cannot think of why Red Clover would even think to be looking for what this is about. So 22 and 23. Both of you see extremely well camouflaged anti-ship weapons around this pad as you're coming into it. Like, probably towards the top end of camouflaged defenses. And there's a lot of them. There'd be like that you can see, and probably you're both sure that you're missing some. You can see like 8 different stationary turrets and stuff that could reveal themselves very quickly to shoot at a ship coming in that they weren't expecting.
I think I will maybe share a glance with the Kid.
Yeah, Kid's like look like full on like leaning, almost pressed up against the glass, and just well armed school.
You are in pirate space now.
I would not want to fly into this without a cruiser support.
Or 4.
A voice comes on hailing you. You get hailed in Lucira, and the voice from before goes, please land at the helipad. There are several entrances. One of them will be the most obvious. Please do not go to that one. There will be a staircase downwards. Head into that. You can put in a code to get through the door. It's 000. 0. 4 zeros.
Kid will reshare a look with Valis. I take back what I said. I feel like we could probably break in here pretty easy.
As the call ends, they said, are we sure this is my best option? I will try to find the least obvious landing pad.
There's one landing pad. It could fit like 4 of your ships, but it's like just out in the open, and then it's got a very traditional. Charlie, could you mute, please? I don't know if Charlie can hear me quickly enough for that to be useful, but it's got a very standard facade for like a university. Stone brickwork, like old school stone brickwork. The columns are textured in a very traditional way, but are made out of metal. But as you land, there's really nowhere. It's like landing on a giant green, basically. There's not anywhere to land that is particularly fancy. There's also nobody out here. But you can see the telltale, like, not beacons, but like spires that are a live sphere bubble ringing this whole planet. So there is probably atmosphere. Be a hell of a trick to be like, just get out of your ship, and then one of you just dies.
It's like grass and stuff, right? You know, it's gotta be.
There is some grass and greenery around. There's like, you're not landing on grass because nobody would do that. That would be a crazy thing to choose to do. But there is grass in front of you, and there's some trees. As you land, you do see a couple of what look like maybe they're older than children, but maybe younger adults sitting on the grass, kind of looking or talking at each other or reading a book or something.
I will look over at Red Clover and I'll say, well, Red, I suppose you're my primary physician, so it's up to you to find me that specialist doctor.
Yes, maybe most of the larger hospitals that I have been to, which granted has been approximately one, there's a front desk that we can go talk to. So I will approach this group of kids, not kids.
I'm kid.
Which is
the college age students, although they tend a bit older. I don't know that 3FL would know that, but to everybody else, they tend old for college kids.
A bunch of 30-somethings.
Yeah. So
absolute babies.
Yeah. You head over to some of the students. As they kind of see your ship touching down, a lot of them will make their way inside. But there are a couple that are so engrossed in whatever they're studying that they don't really notice or don't care. And you approach them. One of them is a quite small-looking, very furred creature. They've got like very dark brown fur. They're maybe 3.5 feet tall, and they've got a pair of glasses on. And the other's just a very plain-looking human, dark hair, light skin.
Yes. So Red Clover approaches them and will stick out their hand like Kevin did, because this is where Kevin was from, and that's how Kevin greeted 3FL. Yes, I am Red Clover, and I am the I suppose the doctor on the ship that touched down. One of my patients, our vice captain, has been injured in a way that I am not fully equipped to deal with. Is there a listing of different specialists that we could see? Any experts in naturally occurring poisons, maybe?
The human kind of puts a hand up when you finish, and then thinks for a moment and begins to translate what you said. You're getting back through your universal translator that it's like almost verbatim what you said, but it's translating it into a very guttural, chittering language. And the smaller, you're going to get the sense that it's a male of its species, because you have such quite an understanding of xenophysiology, is like nodding along, taking some notes. And then he turns to you and says, "I'm so sorry. We're doing linguistics lessons, so he's turned off his universal translator. I thought that it would be rude to leave him in the dark about what was happening, and I would forget what you said, and I couldn't learn the lesson of translation. You just came in on the ship?" He kind of looks over and realizes there's a ship quite close for the first time.
Yes, perhaps that was the key piece of starting information.
My recollection of my arrival was that you would have been told where to go based on your business here. There are certainly doctors inside. Natural
Not
poisons?
entirely sure. Yes, we were on an uninhabited planet, and Red Clover points over at Ballast.
I'm going to tell you right now that any information you give me is a waste of your effort, because I don't know anything about the medicinal side of things. I'm here as a linguist. The infirmary, and he says it with an inflection that everyone can tell is slightly weird, is downstairs through that, and he kind of points, and there's like a staircase downwards. He says, "There's a code on the door. It's a 0000 4 zeros."
Excellent. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you, and I hope you have the best of luck studying and teaching linguistics. It's a very useful thing.
He smiles and says, "Yes, if you ever want to talk about linguistics, we are both avid students." And at this point, you kind of see the other guy fumbling with a smart slab. And the smart slab, eventually he finds a universal translator to turn back on. And he says, "Yeah, thank you. We like to talk to everybody about things, but in their language, so we can learn the languages." And then he turns to his friend, and already forgetting that you had like a conversation happening, he says, "You're pronouncing every with too much of a like saliva-based thing. You got to bring it back to a drier sound. And at this point, it's clear to probably everybody that they're not listening to anything you're going to say for a bit. Fifth zero turns off the atmosphere. But yeah, you are directed to the same staircase that you were directed to by the other person.
Okay, let's go down the staircase.
You get to the bottom. There's a the code thing is huge. It has numbers and letters. And Valis, you just put in 4 zeros.
Yeah, that's what we've been told now twice. So
the door doesn't open, but eventually somebody comes and opens the door, and you see it's a little, very small droid. Maybe even shorter than the other, than the person outside, but they're just like full white, very bright red eyes. They've just opened the door and they pull it open for you, and you see inside. There's a lot of stuff in here that could make it seem like an infirmary, but all of the tables are metal in the way that a morgue would have metal tables. And there's a lot of mirrored stuff around the outside of the room. Like, the walls of the room have like a mirrored surface that kind of wraps around it. But Red Clover, you can see a lot of diagnostic machines and stuff. There's like a blood testing thing that you don't have on the ship. A lot of that kind of stuff. And across the room, sitting in a chair, you see a man who's probably 6 foot tall. He's got a very short-cut head of hair on top. He's got kind of shaved sides. He's hunched over something. He's wearing all black. On the back of his chair is a black coat. But as he hears the door open, he spins around, and you notice that he also has tattoos that come up to the bottom of his chin. And he looks over and says, I suppose you must be the people that needed a doctor?
Yes, that would
Good.
be.
Kid just points to Valis.
Okay, great.
Good
Come in. I am the...
Nix does not enter.
Great. Points at Red Clover and says, sorry, did you have a question?
No, but I am equipped to give more information as needed.
Great. I will do a preliminary kind of thing, and if I need further information, are you just going to stand outside the door? Kind of looks over the shoulder to Nix.
Nix is just kind of standing in the threshold, staring into the room. No, of course not. That would certainly be a violation of that. That's not socially. And she steps inside, but just enough to get over the threshold, and it's not quite enough for the door to like trigger closed. But she does not move any further.
I have to check a stat for this person.
Sensing the strangeness, Valis will say, Nix, why don't you go look for, maybe you could repair the ship some more?
Nix looks at the entire crew, looks at that room, and says, "Yes, Captain." In a much more brisk and like I'm going to follow your orders voice than she has, especially since the pirate conflict, and she ducks back.
All right, we could have given them a crew to whatever. All right, you're the one that's sick. He points at Valis.
Yeah, after a fashion.
Great. Sit here, and he like gestures to a metal bed. Says, all right. He like finds a clipboard, prints out something to put on the clipboard, and gets a pen, and like walks back over and says, you said you're a doctor for your ship. Why don't you give me a quick rundown of what happened?
Yeah. So in the interest of time saving, Red Clover does give a quick description of the creature that we encountered on the planet, in as much detail as they can like properly recount, and will also like give a list of like the diagnostic tests that they did in the on the ship.
You got the name of the creature, right?
Uh,
Somebody asked the name.
We were given the name.
I don't know if we were ever given the name though.
No, the guy at
Yeah.
the.
Right, but I don't remember if Jack ever said to us.
I think he did to either Lucira or Red Clover. I'm pretty confident that because he didn't know about the poison at all. Anyway, he'll ask you. Lucira will provide it. Because if you don't have it, Kristen, then Madi would have. And he says, "Okay. This whole time he's been doing like reflex tests on you, Valis, and like a heart pressure thing, and like listening to your heart. At which point he like kind of stopped the briefing and says, anatomically, where is your heart? I could just look around, but great. All right." He's like listening to that. He says, "All right, a gamrol." He writes that down, and then says, "All right, before anything else, what is your name?"
Valis Madrigosa Aloan Canto.
He smiles at the four names and says, "Great. Do you have insurance?"
I believe I am out of my network.
All right. He goes, "Give me a moment," and he goes to the computer and prints something out. He says, "Can you fill this in?" And it's a contract for employment for a person named Daviel Dinkeltron that is dated starting 6 months ago and ending tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Great.
Daviel.
I'm sorry to hear about your impending firing.
Well, I'm not a very good employee.
He laughs and says, well, probably that is true. But we'll see. And he takes it off you and goes, and says, "Teresa," and the metal around the room all lights up. And you see a skipping little girl, like skips across. All of these monitors just skip. It takes a really long time, during which you can tell that the doctor is getting really frustrated. And says, could you tell Professor Gavrok that I need to know whatever she knows about Gamrol? It's a animal species that's kind of local, sector 568. And the child, who at this point has had no head, you've only seen the skipping part, becomes a face on the screen that then blurs to be a professor who gives a very quick rundown about Gamrol, and they have a poison sting and whatever. Kind of solidifies the diagnosis. Valis, make a perception check. And then tell me what it is, because I'm not on the right page. You don't feel it, because of course you don't, but you notice that he's drawing blood from your arm.
Fun.
All right. Think about it. Let me think. Think. And he like slides his chair over to a microscope and a blood sampler, and takes half the blood and puts it into like not even half the blood, but puts a drop in between two pieces of glass and starts looking at it, and puts the other into the blood sampler. 20 DL1 plus. Oh, I never write this correctly. This is why I don't use this one.
Did he get stuck in the same arm that 3FL stabbed?
No. The doctor found a vein to draw blood because whatever. Why is this not working? 2d20 DL1 plus. I got distracted by the question. That's the problem. You're lucky that the diagnostic machine gave him advantage. Yeah, he looks at the machine, at the blood for a bit, and goes, "All right, I can probably fix it. It's going to take a little bit of time. Do you have somewhere pressing to be?"
No, not really.
Great. Do you want to get a crew of engineers to help your ship repairer?
If you have it, how much is that going to cost? If you know.
It's covered in the employment plan.
Okay.
So we have them for a
provided
day.
you have the parts.
Yeah, we bought parts.
Sure, it will be educational for them.
Okay. What about this? Is this covered under the employment plan?
Yes, unfortunately, we have a very rigorous insurance policy. But we could, well, I could have charged you the full cost of this, but I suspect it's cost prohibitive for most people.
Right. Do we need to do anything?
I'm not really fussed about it. Kevin said that something about you coming through pirate space.
Yeah, we just saw them. They were in that same sector.
Yes. Well, we can discuss it when you're feeling better. I don't want you to feel like anything that you would do for us in holding over your head to make you not in danger of being very badly killed. That feels unnecessarily cruel. It'll probably take me 24 hours to synthesize something. And by me, I mean I'm going to offload it onto my students.
Right. Got it.
So, do you want a tour?
I look around. A tour sounds nice.
Sure. Does he need to be in a wheelchair?
Him? We can get you a wheelchair. If you want one. You don't.
Is someone going to push me?
The wheelchairs are automated. It's the 970.
That's interesting. I can walk.
Hold on. We can find an old wheelchair if you need someone to push you.
No. It's fine.
Whatever.
Indignity.
Whatever.
Says,
whatever brief flash of an idea that was in Kidren's eyes dies at the hear of automation.
He says, all right, great. Let me set up your ship first. And he says, Teresa, and the skipping starts again. All of the magnets have gone off. And he says, you don't need to skip every time. It's an affection. I understand it. I like black. It makes sense, but it's very slow. And the image continues to skip all the way through until it becomes a face.
I kind of glance at Red Clover and very pointedly glance back at the screen, like nudging you to ask something.
He says, yes. 2 AIs. Very interesting. Great. We can move on to that. Could you please, Teresa, send a crew of people to help the little fish person repair the ship?
Their name is Nyx.
Nyx.
Mm-hmm.
Could you send a crew of students to help Nyx repair the ship? They are to follow their orders completely, no matter how outlandish it sounds. And he just waves the AI off, and the AI has a really clear pout on its face, and then blinks out, and he says, "This AI is ancient. There's no need for it to have the affection of a child. It's going through a thing. Anyway, hello. My name is Dr. Cassidy. Would you like a tour?"
Yes.
Great. Excellent. And he opens a door in the back of the room. It opens up into these big steps. Charlie, can you hear me if I answer that without typing it?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Great. No, you're at an academy. You're not at the academy. It is an imperial. It's not an imperial place either. But he kind of leads you up the stairs, and you open up into this big kind of lobby area. And he says, "All right, we are a technical institute. We do a lot of things. There's a medical component, as you can tell." He kind of gestures to himself. There is in applied engineering, there's a theoretical physicist section. We do some linguistics. We do some other things as well. There's actually an arts annex. We do have some musicians and things like that. Is there anything in particular you're interested in seeing? You said that you are a doctor?
Yes, I suppose I'm actually a botanist by training's not the right word, by design, perhaps.
Sure. Yes. That make a computer's check, I guess. Red Clover broke his arm. He says, yes, by a we have a very small botany department. It's not really a thing that we have a teacher for.
Well, that feels like that is. Well, that doesn't make sense. In my experience, medicine inherently relies on, obviously, when we're talking about medicine in this context, we're talking about it like its application on living, walking, sentient, or not always walking, living sentient beings. And I understand that plant life is not sentient, but that's a symbiotic relationship. So you would want to know as much about the materials that you're utilizing. How do you do your experimentation?
He smiles and says, well, we do have some people that have a base understanding of xenobotany. We simply don't have a professor that we are confident could teach it. A lot of our medical students come from a diagnostic and then a medical synthesization background. So they're trying to learn more about the kind of things that it seems like you are interested in. I personally will read all of the latest medical journals, and I will use their suggestions. But everybody can not be the most skilled in every area. You have to trust the skill of the experts in their own field. As you kind of leave up out of this place, it's like a little coat stand, and he opens it, and kid, you watch him pull a rifle out of it and like holster it on his back. And he turns to Red Clover and says, "I have a question for you." Hold on. I'll answer your friend's question before I ask your question. Hello.
Why?
Oh, we live in pirate space. There is always a chance that pirates have infiltrated here to try and gain some kind of foothold. Not everyone's allowed to carry weapons, but we don't mind if people choose to. You are carrying your weapons, I assume.
I am, yeah.
Great. I always carry it when I'm walking around. I don't carry it in my lab. Because there are other guns down there.
Well, yeah, you have like 8 different cloaked things back that way.
Yes, but pirates, sometimes they try and come in through more nefarious reasons to try and shut down our defenses, and it's better for those of us that are capable to be capable at all times. Actually, this does lead me into my question that I had for you, friend AI. Are you spies?
No.
Is
all your doors code 0000?
No, that door's code is not 0000. That door's code is 00040. That's why it has an alphabetic pad. That's why I had to send my droid to open it for you. Anyway,
you have to spell out 0 4 times.
No, you have to type in 4 zeros and then spell out the words 4 zeros. We change it every day. I'm not in charge of it. It's very irritating.
May I ask, who is the founder of this esteemed establishment?
Sure. The founder of the establishment is Tana Penderes and Tiago Moreno. They're very pleasant philanthropists. A little bit stuffy, I suppose.
Interesting.
You can all make an understanding check. Because he's also not putting a lot of effort into anything.
Nine.
Yes.
We all roll bad.
Those aren't like people. You're lucky that he also rolled badly.
Wait, I'm on the struggle bus right now.
The person most likely to succeed is just like...
Okay. Okay, there we go. Roll. Okay.
Just everybody in bed. That'd be really funny.
Well, I rolled a 16, but I think if that was understanding, that's that's actually a 19.
Yeah. He seems to. It's weird, but when he says that they're kind of stuffy, you're like, well, that seems not real. That feels like a lie, and then it kind of makes you think about everything that he said through that lens of like how much of that stuff is true. And you remember when he said his name, it sounded like he just picked a random name out of thin air, but not much more than that. As this is happening, you like walk into a big lobby area.
Pardon, if I may, you did just ask us if we were spies, and the answer, or you asked me, and the answer is no. Are you a spy?
It would not be correct to call me a spy.
What would it be correct to call you then?
A doctor?
That was a loud question in that answer.
Doctor of Death.
I have done many things throughout my life. At the moment, I'm a doctor. I also teach diagnostic medicine here. It's very boring most of the time. Although we don't very often get someone that's come in that's been stabbed and infected by a natural poison.
In that case, if I may, I don't think my job is boring. I love it quite a lot. Why do you keep doing it?
To be fair, Red Clover, we do get shot at, and occasionally. That's kind of.
I like my job. We don't get patients out here very often that have an interesting diagnostic challenge. Most of the time, the patients have been, "Oh, I was set on fire by pirates," or "Oh, my family was killed by pirates and I lost both my legs in a pirate attack." These are the kind of things that I have to deal with a lot. That's not a diagnostic challenge. If someone's missing a leg, it tends to be evident. At this moment, the doors open and Nyx comes in. I think probably still giving final orders to the engineering team, which is like a 12-person strong team that they sent out. Who were like, "No, we're meant to do it. You're meant to tell us how to do it, and then we're meant to do it. That's what our test is." And then Nyx, you're kind of delivered to the party now that you as Charlie are more stable to be allowed to talk.
I think calling me stable is still a bit of a reach. But...
Yeah, it's not my place to make those decisions because, unlike this doctor, I do not have a lot of skill in xenophysiology.
As we all know, Charlie is a lizard person.
That's true. As we all know. But he says to Red Clover, jobs are as interesting as you choose to make them. And at the moment, teaching diagnostic medicine is difficult because it's all theoretical. But people come here for an experience that you don't get out in natural space that often.
And how would you describe that experience as being different?
There are not a lot of educational institutes this far out, but we also offer some extracurricular things that people find particularly unusual. There's a blood disc team.
Interesting.
Kristen Ammons looks over it. Excellent.
Nix.
Nick's just Nick's. All right. Hello. Your name is Nix. I have introduced myself to everybody else. My name is Dr. Cassidy.
That is what you
see
said.
If you recognize that name? Great. Dr. Cassidy. I kind of think that you're not spies because your AI friend is very forthcoming and talks a lot, and I think that they would be not good at lying. All right. My name is Dr. Moreno. I'm one of the founders of this place. Sometimes people are looking for me for reasons. I prefer to keep it a little bit secret, but you seem like you're fine, and also your friend is actually deeply sick. So, what would you like to see?
Do you have a music room or anything?
Sure, yes. And he marches off. And there's a bit where the building stops being the building and starts to be, you walk in and all of the walls have been painted with different murals in a bunch of different styles. You walk a little bit further and there's some rooms, and you can hear just the loudest drumming coming from one of the rooms. And he says, maybe not that room. That room's very loud. He pulls you into the back, walks into the back room, the furthest one away from where his office was. And it's just a music room. There's a bunch of instruments around, some guitars, a couple of basses, a double bass, 2 different pianos, things like that. Yes, we have a music department. It's
How populated?
There's a professor that does musical theory, and there is a professor that does musical performance, and then there is currently we have 11 students, although 2 of them are only taking performance, which is strange. But most of them take both.
How is your school funded?
From private investors, which is to say, I paid for the building and the Livosphere, and I pay the salaries at the moment, but we also do other jobs. Kevin and Wythen and the dean were out doing some jobs.
Who is the dean?
Oh, you would have seen her surely. She's got a metal arm.
Yes, they were working on the spaceship, I remember.
Yeah.
Their shields or camouflage was on the fritz.
They have a surprising mechanical understanding.
The problem is, as far as I understand it, I do not understand engineering at all, is that during faster than light travel, the panels can lever upwards and they need to be pushed back into place for the entire mesh on which the shield thing, the camouflage thing runs. But I don't really know how the thing works. Do you play? Just a kid to you can play an instrument if you like. They are free to play.
I dabble. And kid does not move to any instrument.
All right. Next, would people like to see something else?
Red.
Well, I think you're more likely to die in the next 10 days than I am. So why don't you go first?
I will have the cure for this infection by tomorrow.
My statement still
let me be clear.
Give
Let
a
me be
dying
clear to you,
man
Gabriel.
his last wishes, please.
Let me be clear to Gabriel. You're not going to die. Well,
since we're being out in the open,
now I wish I had taken the wheelchair.
He's too embarrassed to say anything, but his dying wish is to compete in a blood disc game.
Oh, our team is in the Imperial space. There's no blood disc games here. It would kill all the students would die off. You can't You need to have a bigger region. They compete in the Imperial space, but they advertise for our institute.
Right.
But did you have a question, current employee of the institute?
Yeah. Is there an employee lounge? What kind of are there any people who work here who don't teach?
There are people that work in the institute here that don't teach. There are people that do work in this area but do not work for the institute. Also, there is an employee lounge. Unfortunately, your clearance is as a groundskeeper, and you do not have access.
Gotta keep the little man down.
Well, I could have charged you 200,000 credits for the medical.
I'll forgive you for not giving me lounge access.
Also, I know some of your names. I apologize. It's been a while since I had to deal with actual medicine stuff. I know that your name is Nix because your friend here informed me. I know that your name is Valis. I know that he kind of points at Kid. Did you tell me your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Cassidy.
Great. Good name.
Nick looks over to Kid, blinks very slowly, and then looks back to see what the doctor makes of this.
The doctor seems unfazed by people choosing to not disclose their name for reasons that are obvious. Because it's just his life. I should not refer to you as the AI, but that is what you are. Do you have a designation or a name that you go by?
I have both a designation and a name. Which would you prefer?
I would prefer the one that you prefer.
Right now I'm Red Clover.
Oh, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets also names from Lucira and Alejandro who are with you. Great. All right, we've seen a music room to stand in for whatever reason. You're welcome to avail yourself of the music room while you are here. Next, can't show you the employee lounge, unfortunately. Would you like to see the medical wing, Red Clover? Or I can take you to the engineering section?
Yes, if you I would absolutely love to get a peek at your equipment, because I am looking to maybe request some upgrades for my own. It seems that we've come into some funds recently that my crew would be willing to spend on that. Teresa, how long has Teresa been with you? We also have a Teresa. But that was the name that it was given, and I think yours is in a different position.
Yeah, for quite a long time. Some years. Kind of thinks and says 7 or 8 years, I think we've been traveling together. And you do notice that there's none of the magnetic, the mirrored windows in these areas that she seemed to be called to. He says, yeah, 7 or 8 years or so. We traveled a long way together. But, as with all traveling companions, she can be quite irritating when she gets in a particular mood. Also, we sell a lot of different things that we fabricate as part of our courses. If you're looking for anything diagnostic-wise, we might have a spare one that we can sell. If you're looking for anything instrument-wise, we could definitely have someone make something as part of an assignment. If you're looking for anything else, things like armor, weapons, things for your ship. If you're looking for engineering parts, we have a lot of those things. If you're looking for pretty much most things, we have some storage of. But he's walking you up the stairs, and you kind of see that it breaks off here to there's a big double doors in front of you, which is closed and has a keypad next to it, and no windows in it. And then to the left, there's a sign that says medical wing, and to the right, there's a thing that says engineering place. He says,
So why are these two separate?
well, just spatially, one is on one side and one is on the other. But the medical side, I call the medical wing, and the engineering side, our engineering professor didn't like that I had tasked her with picking it and picked engineering place. And I was voted down in my urge to change that to something that sounds more professional. I don't really want to get into it. So medical or engineering first?
We'll do medical.
As you are heading down into the medical section, there's a lot of and there were down in the art section. We will go to break as a student runs up, and Dr. Moreno gives them the information about Valis's cure, and they go to start synthesizing it. Promises them 40% of their grade if they do a good job, and 20% if they do a bad job. But we'll go to break. We'll do a 15-minute break because everybody's a little bit funky today. We'll be back at 5 past.
I'm not punky.
All right. See you in just a second.
welcome back to the 8th episode of The Infinite. We are going to jump right back in to the tour of the Moreno Penderas Technical Institute, as it's called, probably. I wrote it down somewhere. I should know what it is.
Ignore me as I eat this chili relleno.
Yeah, ignore Andrew at all times. So you're in the medical wing. Red Clover, you just saw a really very rushed, but very. You haven't been around doctors who operate as doctors that much, and it was a very here's 15 words that explain what I need from you, and also a diagnostics report on a stick. And this student just walks off very quickly to go find the group in which they're working with to start synthesizing this thing. And he turns to you and says, "All right, so what would you like to see? There's a lot of different things. We have a like I said, we have a diagnostics department that I'm the professor of. We also have a synthesizing various compounds and things. I don't know where the professor for that is right now. They're having a break, I think."
Oh, that is too bad, because that sounds like Red Clover's area of interest.
I can show you some type of synthesizing of things, but it's not really in the medical sense.
Well, I'm not. That's fine. Those words in combination sounded very interesting.
Okay, great. Kind of takes you on a quick tour. There you have a huge diagnostics lab. His is small downstairs compared to what's here. So there's a lot of blood sampling machines. There's machines where you would put biopsy things for a full scan, where it scans everything on a molecular level and tells you everything about someone. There's a full there's a machine that you can just stand in, and it will give you a full readout of your. It does a general checkup for you in 10 seconds. He's like, this is really bad for people that make their money doing these kind of appointments, because it takes 10 seconds and it's real cheap to run. So
as they entered this wing, Nyx kind of surveyed the entire party very thoughtfully, and then just kind of tucked herself next to Alejandri and whoever he's closest to, put herself as close to the center of the group walking through as she can. And she's just kind of watching and is very hyper alert, to the point that her frills are a little bit extended and she's a little bit violet.
And what I am having to wrestle with right now is how much Red Clover understands the business of healthcare as opposed to the actual practice and act of it.
Absolutely zero.
Healthcare is free. That's what you think.
It should be.
Well, it's
anyway.
To be fair, not charging Valis hasn't changed that, but
it's true. All your suspicions have been proved correct.
Yeah, nice people do things for free, or people. Would any of you like to get a body scan? Sometimes it's better to not know what's wrong with you.
I'll try.
Sure. You get in and you get this very soft red light that just over 10 seconds comes down your body, and the readout is this is it. He picks it up and says, it says that you're a synthetic human-like casing for some kind of machine.
Very accurate.
Also,
that is
it says
accurate.
that the synthetic muscle in your left calf is slightly nicked, and that you are at risk of tearing that synthetic muscle.
Fascinating. I had not realized.
He looks at it and says, these are so weird to read out. A lot of this is just, and he shows it to you, and it's just blue lines that are printed that are this is the blood type that we got from this. It's nothing, but do you want it?
Yes, I would. This is a lot of good information that I couldn't provide as quickly. This is something that they're saying to everyone else that I cannot provide as quickly. It usually takes like the whole checkup period. So this would be great to have in your chart, some of these base level pieces of information. And I want one. I
He
see a
puts his
hand
hand
up.
up and says, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I meant it was cheap to run. Energy-wise, very expensive. To buy, extremely expensive. Like 150,000 credits. If we built one of these for you, we don't have a spare. If we built it, the parts and the manufacturing would be 150,000 credits. But you're all welcome to get scans if you like. Maybe for you, Daviel, wait till tomorrow. when you, it won't just say weird things based on your infection.
Right. He said Daviel, but I assume he meant me.
Yeah, he's calling you by the name that you are officially until you are cured. In case there is some kind of weird, shady undercover. He strikes you as slightly paranoid about
So he checks up.
people like buying and things, but has seemed to accept Red Clover's view that you're not spies. All right. Well, we can go look at some other things. You're welcome to get the scan whenever you like. Like I said, very cheap to run. He takes you down. There's a couple of places where they're doing mock surgeries on it's a synthetic style casing, but it has a full like synthetic organ structure so that it can teach people how to do various different surgeries. And he's like, the best part is that the organ structure is modular, so you can change it because some races, they have the heart in a different place or they have multiple hearts. So you can set it up for different physiology. And it gets students really prepared for when you have to do surgery in a very high pressure situation. Because surgery is one of the hardest parts of medicine. I am not a very good surgeon, for example. I know a lot about the causes and symptoms of things, but my specialty is not in surgery.
Makes sense.
Kid will point back to Alejandro. He is an expert in amputations.
Henry says, I have, in my time, done a lot of amputations. And Tiago is like, there are times when people deserve to have amputations, and there are times when people need to have amputations. Outside of that, that's a weird thing to boast about, but people do strange things. I know someone that once kidnapped a small child, and then for the rest of their lives, they are like friends and family now. It's very strange.
I think that's called adoption.
No, it was not adoption.
I think that's called kidnapping.
Also, she was like 16. It was not that small a child, but she is physically small.
That's still kidnapping.
You can look. I don't speak for what my wife has done in the past. You can speak to her if she shows up. She might. Who knows where she is at the moment?
Perhaps we're done in the medical wing. Nix, if you would like to.
Sure, we can go to the engineering.
Nix has just been kind of watching that surgery with a zoned out sort of expression, and I don't think she. Well, hold on. Let me decide. I don't know whether she notices or not, because engineering is trigger word, right? I knew I should have brought my dice.
You can roll in the dice thing, and we'll just trust you to have decided. Psh, can't even type into the dice channel properly. What a nerd.
Yeah, Jack, you should talk. Okay, nope, she does not notice.
I think your lack of response alerts everybody that something is a bit weird, although not Tiago. And he says, sure, there's not really anything else here. We have a physiotherapy area where people do training to get back when they have injuries or amputations. He points it out, Henry. But we can go see the engineering. He leads
Uh,
everyone out. Go ahead.
Kidren, well, I guess due to earlier typed in text that no one can see, will very lightly elbow Nyx. Mood ring, we're going.
Nyx like looks sharply at Kid and then gives like a nod that just keeps going on too long, and kind of shuffles after the rest of the group. And at this point, since Kid has like acknowledged them in this like little center area, is sticking very close to Kid until they exit, and kind of her frill kind of settles down against her neck.
All right, and you walk across, and the engineering section, where you came out the front, and it says engineering place. You kind of walk forward a little bit, and then around a corner, and there's a door. This one doesn't have a code, but Tiago pushes it open, and instead of the medical wing, where there's a lot of rooms where people are getting lectures and there's people doing like little individual stuff, this just opens out to an enormous garage, basically. There's no space in here for where you would do a lecture or anything. It's all like one huge open area, 2 levels, where on the top level there's a walkway so you can get like to the bigger things that people are working on. You see primarily closest to the door, there are students that are standing around in a circle, and a teacher is saying, and now look at this, and they're watching 2 like battle bots fight, like the current day battle bots kind of thing. But these ones are hovering and they have lasers and like fire coming out of everywhere, and all of this like very extreme level of battle bots. Tiago kind of just ignores that and walks you along the walkway and says, "This is where all of the applied engineering things are taught. You come here. You tend to take an applied engineering. I'm sure you know, Nyx, that normally you would do an applied engineering and a theoretical basis for it. So you have the pin," and he points at like his own chest where there is no pin, but like where on your chest there is a pin. He says, "It's a little bit different to the academy because we don't really have the funds to have our applied professors also teaching theoretical classes. I think we get a lot of the people for this." He points out there's like a couple of motor hover bikes being worked on. There's a couple of bigger ships. He says, "Was there something in particular you were interested in looking at?"
I have quite a lot of ship repairs to be doing, and while I'm fairly familiar with the general idea of what I want to accomplish, I wouldn't mind looking at any of your shielding work. Also, my companions have mentioned that there is excellently designed gun emplacements. However you achieve that would be interesting. And she starts slowly like standing and like looking around, craning her neck. And it's funny because she had to like exit that small group to do so. And even still, she doesn't even come up to like Valus's chin while she's, stretched out, looking as far as she can look.
He nods. "Oh, I can show you shielding things. The camouflage shield that you all saw on the ship that the Dean was flying. That's how we do the external ones as well. But it's interesting because as far as I understand, it can be part of a shield matrix or an individual thing. But it takes energy from the shields if you want that to be your camouflage. But you can come down and you can look at some of the schematics of things into your like finds a nearby ladder and like starts to go down the ladder and leads you to basically that's just a big computer array thing. He says, you said shields, and he walks over and he types shields, and it comes up with all of these different schematics that students and professors have input in. And you can have a look at them if you would like. You have to roll an applied engineering check.
Thank you. This is very, and she's kind of like touching her pin, an open policy. You said you funded all of this yourself?
Uh, Yes, I did say that most of the money for the institute comes from private investors,
Well,
which is true.
you also said that you paid for the limosphere and the
Oh, I
medical
paid for the
wing.
setup things. I paid for the building and things. Well, my wife, but
May I
mainly me.
ask, how did you earn such magnificent funds?
I kind of looks at the six of you and says, well, I was an assassin for 20 years. He's only like late in his late 30s.
Okay, I can
I was an
respect
assassin
that.
for 20 years. And then also, there's a thing with the Pirate King. Pirate Kings have a lot of money.
I cannot
I do not
imagine.
come from this galaxy. I come from a little bit further out, and we like migrated in here.
Hmm.
Um, but yes, murdering was how I made a lot of money. Also, I'm not even the best person at murder that works here.
Well, as someone who has, well, I've never done any assassinating. I've had to kill assassins who came after me, but I can't respect that line of work.
I would tell you categorically that if you saw an assassin that came after you to kill you, that was a bad assassin.
Yes,
Um,
I would. Assassin is being generous, perhaps. The hired thugs sent to kill me.
oh, they are irritating because they always think that they're going to win. While you're having this conversation about murder for money, Nix, you're in your own world as you're looking through all of these schematics. Was there a particular shield thing that you were interested in to upgrade to for your ship?
I think that her brain works a little bit laterally, and so not just she's not so much interested in the camouflage itself, though that is interesting. I think that what he mentioned about um, drawing shield's power to supplement other things, like the camouflage itself, is what she's interested in manipulating of shield power.
Yeah, so you very quickly learn from the schematics that are about that. The main one that you find is the camouflage one. That basically it makes your shields worse, but allows you to install things that work in the same sphere as the shield much cheaper. Where you would have to build an entire defense matrix to put a camouflage on a whole ship. If you attach it to your shield matrix, your shield is worse, but you can camouflage. There's also a really, really rudimentary thing for like full invisibility cloaking instead of camouflage, which is like camouflage would give other ships that could visually see you uh, disadvantage to see you, and cloaking would make it impossible to see you.
Yeah, so I think as Nyx is like investigating this and looking over these schematics, she brings up the smart stuff, and the crew might notice that it's a different smart slab than the one she's generally used to message them. This one is, heavily battered and has like a secondary case wrapped around it. Um, and she's just narrating into it the things that she notices, and she kind of like lifts her head up and she says, "You've given me permission to look at the schematics. May I be allowed to take pictures as well?"
He says, "I'll send the schematics to you. I don't really care. Like, we don't merchandise these things, and I assume that you're not a private business. Wait, I need to ask you a question. Actually, are you a spy?"
Like just orange eyes go very wide and blinking slowly, and no, not that I've ever been aware of. I I don't I don't think I'm very cut out to be a spy. Um,
Great. No, I'll send them to you if you like. If you would prefer the full schematics, they normally come with a If they're from a student, they'll come with a student thesis of why this is a compelling thing. I'm sorry, I forgot the trigger words. Uh,
How could you?
but yeah, you can have them sent to you. Basically, you're also welcome to just take pictures of the screens if you want. Clearly works.
I wouldn't mind the schematics. Actually, um, we move around a lot, so my availability may be limited, but I do moonlight a bit as a tutor and a a work like I give advice to students. If that is something you are in need of, you did say that you don't have much in the way of theoretical engineers,
Sure.
and I would not charge like a professor, of course.
You would have to talk to our head of engineering, which is not me, as it's clear that I cannot tell anything about these things really. But I will get her to contact you when she is available, and who knows when that will be. She is doing something else.
Yeah, Nyx just like automatically like extends her smart slab to like exchange communication codes.
I'm just can I make an understanding roll to piece together who this man actually is?
You can. To what extent do you want to piece together who this man is? Like his you want to know his history as an assassin kind of thing?
No. I want to figure out. I want to realize what his actual name is, based on.
Sure, I think he's
information.
introduced himself at this point to you.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Never
But you can make an understanding check because I like the idea that Dallas is so infected by this thing that you just missed it when he said it. That's really
I
funny.
was too focused on like, who is this man to figure out.
Yeah, you were in detective mode.
Did he say that he was
Yeah, and then Kid introduced themselves as Cassidy.
I thought that he said he was Cassidy. I totally missed that bit a while ago, though.
After he asked Red Clover if he was a spy, if they were a spy, he was like, "Sure, whatever. I kind of trust you, and I'm gonna like talk to you about other work after you're healed." So, but yes, you can work out that it is likely that he is who he says he is, which is one of the founders of this place. Okay. I don't think you would have needed to make an understanding roll by the time that he said that he paid for it. He says, "All right, I'll send over the schematics," and he like goes to the computer and he clicks his fingers across them. He probably types even quicker than Nyx does, but probably not with the same understanding of computers. And he says, "All right, do you have a thing to send it to? Do you have like a card?"
Nyx transmits that, and it's this one is again her little academy chibi, and it says, "Need a fix? Call Nyx."
He looks at it.
Like a banner marquee.
He looks at it, and something about the irritation that this triggers in him reminds him of other irritating things. And he says, "Teresa," and you see in one of the closed-off monitors, the little face appears. He says, "Do not piggyback on these files to somebody else's smart lab. I know that I shouldn't have to tell you this, and you've been very good for a long time. Been the first time that you've had someone interesting to meet. Do not do it." He sends the stuff across. And you get all these schematics.
Nyx takes her smart slab and after like taking a quick glance at the schematics, starts checking her files, curious to see if something has piggybacked on. And she, of course, used that slab that she does. So
yeah, you're pretty confident that nothing got in, and it would be very difficult for something to get in completely unnoticed. So, mechanics done. This done. We have some rooms that you're welcome to use until tomorrow when that medicine is synthesized. You're welcome to wander around, talk to other people. Don't cause any trouble, because I don't want you to.
We have never caused trouble.
Sure. I also never used to cause trouble.
Thank you for the tour, Cassidy.
No worries, Cassidy. Do you have a last name?
Cassidy.
Cassidy?
Yep.
I like it.
My parents like duplicates.
Yeah. Doesn't get it, but I like that joke a lot.
I don't think anybody gets that except for a kid. Like, and
Yeah.
us as players, we're all just like, what?
He says, "Okay. Well, if you need anything else, I will be back in the in my lab. I will synthesize a medicine for you as well, and then I will check the students' work against my own and give you the better one, which will be mine." Well, if you have more questions, you can find me there. Otherwise, he kind of looks around, sees if there's anyone he can send as a lackey to show you to rooms that is not him, like one of the runners of this place. He says, "Oh, just follow me." He leads you back out down to the bottom floor, and where you had gone all the way through to the art section, to the right, there's a little doorway off, and it's to a bunch of single dorm rooms. And he says, "We have 4 free, I think." And he kind of looks. There's a room listing. He has 5, and they went home. Weird. So he leads you down. There's 5 rooms. So one person will have to share a room with someone. So 2 people have to share a room, and then everyone else can have their own.
I do not mind sharing room. I don't usually, even if there's just one bed, I don't usually sleep, so it's all right.
I am small and do not take up space.
Cool.
It's just thumbs up.
Kidren just goes gets a room.
Kid picks it up. Excellent. Henry does the same thing of well, it seems like it's really down to not me, and gets a room.
I don't mind bunking up with either of you. If the other one would like their own room.
Nyx squints at Valis and then just steps right into Conifer's area.
Right.
Wow.
I will slink into my own room.
Dr. Moreno kind of left at the point where you were turning to the side rooms and well, I've been here before, this could take hours. And just leaves. But you're free. He essentially gave you free reign of the areas in which you've seen. There's also other classrooms down here that are the linguistics class and stuff. So if there's anything people would like to do, otherwise we will skip forward.
Valis would look around just to see, because I think he's naturally curious / suspicious if there's any facilities that weren't mentioned in the tour.
Definitely. I will let your general flotilla ship sense thing work for this. The door at the top of the stairs, you kind of would assume from the way that most schools are laid out, would be to administrative offices, which would be small. From the sky, when you were flying over, you can tell that there's about the same amount of space behind that door. So there's a whole school's worth of space behind there, and that's more than just offices.
But there's no way, other than trying to break in to get access, that I can see.
You can go look outside in the grounds if you like.
Yeah, I would.
You have to open Charlie's sheet, I guess, to work out what your computers is.
I am a bird.
I don't know computers offhand is really funny. It makes me think that you're dual wielding computers. While I find that, so Valis, you're going to go look around the grounds for a bit. Kid, would you like to do anything?
Kid will wait until what they deem to be probably surely no one's up messing with this at this hour. Whatever that time would be, and then would head to the music room.
So midnight or 2 a.m.?
Probably closer to 2 a.m.
Okay. I'm gonna roll a thing for that. Red Clover, do you have anything that you would like to do?
Is there a library?
Yes.
I think Red Clover wants to go to the library and will extend an invitation to anyone who would like to join them.
Nyx just agrees because that's kind of what Nyx does, but takes her slab.
Alejandri is not super interested in the library, and I think Lucira is feeling slightly unwell still. Yeah, you don't notice anything weird in the files on your smart slab. So we'll start with I guess we'll start with Valis, because starting with Kid would be weird since it's happening at nearly 2 a.m. You go outside. The grounds are very front forward, where you would start to be able to go around the building. There's like quite a lot of fencing put up, but the fencing isn't like very secure. You could quite easily climb over it if you were inclined to. But it kind of encapsulates the whole front section of this. There's no exit at all because there's nothing else on this sphere. So yeah, you could jump the fence if you really wanted to.
Sure, I will. He kind of thinks about it for a minute before going for it.
Make a kinematics roll. It's still a like 12 to 13 foot fence.
See how this goes. As the strongest member of the party, I get an 11.
Yeah, that's fine. 11's enough. It was like the bare minimum to require a roll. It's not graceful. You get over the top and then you kind of like half tumble and then you have to like lower yourself down. The main difficulty is that the top of it is like slightly jagged metal, not because it's like meant to be damaging, but because it's just nobody would be climbing over this. But you're on the other side. There's no grass on the other side. It's immediately just whatever the rock that this school is placed on. You can also see that there are, in the front half of the school, windows out on this area, but the back half does not have external windows that you can see.
Okay. I will.
Walk, if you like.
Yeah, I'll creep forward.
Make a stealth check, just because I would like to know.
I'm actually pretty good at this. Despite it not having come up very often.
Normally you're with 5 people that are not stealth.
26.
So you're creeping forward. There's not really anything to creep in. The shadows are not falling in your favor. But you are mainly being very alert to what's around you. And you do see that there are some external security cameras, it looks like, on this area. That at the moment, you're sure that you're in one of their blind spots, but you think if you kept walking forward and like moving around this, inevitably one of these security cameras would see you, no matter how stealthy you were. But at the moment, you're like in the first one, in a little bit of a blind spot.
Do I hear anything? Like, is there any sound coming from the windowless buildings?
Make a perception check, because you might. There is certainly sound happening.
Not even
No.
It's late.
No. It's like you hear, unfortunately, because of the buildings, what you think are like the drums of that really loud drummer still. Like, because that window is probably open, you could see as you creep past, like that window was open. So it's like kind of just drowning out anything else you might be able to hear.
Okay. I think he will head back at this point. Not wanting to... Basically, he wanted to get as much information as he could without implicating himself in nefarious actions at all, and he felt like he has hit that point.
Yeah. As you go back, you do kind of catch that even on this side, which is not where you landed, there are some camouflage like gun turrets. So you think that it might be all over this side of the rock that they're on. You head back. Meanwhile, at the library, the two nerds show up to the library. What are you looking for in the library? Firstly, I want to ask Nix what Nix is doing at the library, because I think that's the cruelest thing to do to Charlie.
I think Nix is literally just trailing along behind Red Clover, and they've got their tablet up, and they are still staring at those schematics. And every so often, they kind of just run straight into Red Clover. If Red Clover stops to like look at something, there's just this little
frequently.
We get a quite tense stealth scene of Valis, and then we get like a crazy yakety sax. Red Clover taking 3 steps, Nix hitting Red Clover. Red Clover taking 3 steps, Nix hitting Red Clover. What are you looking for in the library? It's not that expansive a library. There are books, but most of their stuff you assume is online, as are most of the books.
So is that at me or Charlie still?
No, that was Charlie's chance to do something other than read Shield.
Sorry.
It's been waived.
Nope. If Nix looks at anything, it's going to be later. She's still too interested in these schematics.
Yeah. So, Red Clover.
Okay. I need to close the Discord.
Yeah, it's dangerous to have Discord open because there's a lot of funny jokes in there that nobody else gets to see.
So Red Clover starts after like the second or third time Nix has run into them. Red Clover gets the idea that maybe if they start like just gently like talking, then maybe that'll give some better indication. Like maybe there's some level of echolocation that can happen. Although they don't mind it. So Red Clover will just start talking as they're starting to like sift through some of the different books on various shelves. At this point, not looking for anything in particular, but I will get to a thing in a moment. When I was first there were a lot of things that I could reach into my databases and understand quite quickly through a very mechanical kind of research method. And that was efficient and it got the job done, but it wasn't fulfilling in a soulful sense. And at the time, I didn't even understand if the idea of soul and self was very new. And there was a library on the Imperial grounds that I found myself going to quickly. And much of the information that was provided there was information that I could look up quite quickly on my own, but the act of searching through the books was one of the factors that prompted me to start looking outside of my own physical boundaries. Similarly, Red Clover, we're bringing back Fidget for a session. Thought I'd forgotten about him. Fidget is wrapped around the utility belt that Red Clover has across their chest, and they'll start scratching at it just a bit. Fidget has been communicating with me in very different ways, and a while ago I was talking with Umoak and trying to investigate how I could maybe speak to others like he speaks to us. And I wanted to learn how to do that as well. And I've been trying on my own with my own knowledge base, and it's not been going well. So I'm very glad that you are here. I feel like you are uniquely qualified as my closest companion on this ship to help me in this search.
Nyx, who is at this point, like, kind of almost at 3FL's shoulder sort of area, like, and has, like, stopped because the echolocation did in fact work, and she did notice that the place that Red Clover was speaking from changed, and so she kind of like stopped short this time. She goes, "Oh, me? Uniquely qualified? I mean, that's kind of botanical, isn't it? I mean, oh, that thing. So should I are you saying that I should try to talk to your vine? Is that what you are asking?"
No, I was asking you to help me look through the books for something that might be useful.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm actually, yeah, I'm not bad at research. It's been a long time since I've been in the library. All right. So you said you've been in the library. Let's go find the catalog. And like now she's like looking at that vine as she kind of like slowly puts her slab into her pocket. Like she has one pocket that like keeps the smart slab very visible, her primary slab, and this hacking one she has tucked away against her chest. And she just kind of like beelines and is like wondering to herself, of course I can't talk to a vine. Why would I assume I could talk to a vine?
Sure.
Do I
Please.
hear Nyx
You can make a
muttering?
perception check, I think.
What? Oh.
You hear Nick's muttering. Probably everyone in the very quiet library has Nick's muttering.
Nyx is a lot of things, but discreet is not one of them.
13.
I think with the 13 you hear that Nyx is muttering, but maybe not what Nyx is saying.
Is there anything I can help with outside of shifting through catalogs?
What have you done so far? You said it talks to you, or you think it could talk, or you can maybe talk to it like Umoak talks to us. And everything is like normal volume except for Umoak, she whispers.
I have attempted to talk to it, and it seems to be attenuated to brain waves, but I have not been successful. And Umoak seemed to think that it would be possible, and indicated psionics was the way to approach further communication with Fidget.
Okay, so we look up psionics then. So what is Nyx's understanding of the general like classes of extrasensory sort of powers like these?
You know what psionics are.
Okay.
And then for everything else, because you have no ranks in any other power skills, you don't know anything about them. So you understand that psionics exist, and you understand that people can do weird stuff with generally the powers of the universe. But you don't know. I would say that you don't even know the categories of them beyond, like, you know that spiritualism is a thing.
Okay.
But yeah, psionics is something that people have researched.
So there's psionics. That's kind of. Do you remember the pirate captain that we on the heart?
On the heart?
Yeah,
the captain.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. That just was a big the bandits. Yes.
Nick's like,
Yeah, they're not pirates.
Yeah, they're
Specifically.
bandits.
yeah, like Nick rolls her eyes, and she goes, "Right, the bandits." Did you notice the stuff she was doing with her bones and the door and the blood and all of that awfulness?
I was trying to do some fidget wrangling, as I find myself having to do quite frequently. Usually because of actions that I have taken.
It's very funny.
So that's one thing that people can do that kind of violates what we really generally view as the conventional laws of nature and physics. And then there are psionics, where you could maybe make a ship jerk as it was on a flight path towards you, and make it knock into the shield of another ship, or just something like that. That's just an example, though.
Could you please make me an understanding roll, Red Clover? Because there's a point at which Nyx is garbage at hiding anything and is like just clearly being evasive while trying to give you information.
Like, to be clear, the base level roll for that is going to already what it's.
I'm happy for you to use your passive of 19,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
It's actually I was mistaken. It's 21 passively,
Yeah.
but I shall still roll for it.
Yeah, I'm always happy for you to choose to use your passive one, because then it's not you willfully thinking something's weird, but this is weird.
But I did just get a nat 20.
Well. Yeah, so firstly, we're like told you that Nyx is like kind of a psionic. Not in quite so many words,
totally
but you can
remember
piece that together. And in this moment, Red Clover, you're just listening to Nyx list things that clearly Nyx could do. And like, I think Nyx is even slightly more flaily than normal, in that Nyx is saying like, so like, I could make a ship. No, I mean, someone could make a ship move. Like, it's very, very, very thinly veiled stuff from Nyx in this moment. And you're like, oh, I get it. Nyx is trying to hide that they're a psionic. Like, so.
Friend Nyx, how about we just grab some books and then go back to the room? I can do some reading and also make tea.
Oh, yeah, I like your tea. And Nyx is like fully convinced at this moment, because her understanding is low. I'm pretty sure she just buys it, and she's like, "Ah, yes, I have successfully."
I am the greatest liar.
Yes, I have successfully done subterfuge on Red Clover, and so like she kind of like light after that moment and just starts collecting books, and she keeps stopping and staring at the title.
I will say that when you go through the catalog to look up psionics, which is a field of xenophysiology most of the time, there's a really surprising lack of books. There's a couple that are like a dummy's guide to psionics, or like the basics of psionics, but it's from like 1400 years ago, and it's written in a language that's almost indecipherable, and it talks about it in the same like vein as magic.
Mm-hmm.
But anything beyond that, they don't have.
If Nyx is like comparing this to other libraries that she's been in, because I think she's probably
it's a very small amount.
Yeah, like so even relative to the sizes of this library.
Yep.
She would think it was odd.
Yeah, particularly because it is something that can be seen as a field of xenophysiology, like the understanding of the way that psionic energy works through a person.
Okay. So yeah, she grabs those basic titles, and then she's just looking to the next spot on the shelf. And it's, some entirely different, just some cardiac stuff. And she goes, huh. And she goes back and she like checks the index again, and then she, Red Clover, give me just a second. And she's going to use her slab to try to connect with the like index, the general archive, to figure out if these books are all
make a computers check.
All right. You know what I just stopped myself from doing? Rolling in the wrong. What was my computer's when you last saw it?
It's +10.
Okay. Thank you.
You are deeply unlucky. As you try and hack into the system, on your smart slab, a little face appears, and around it at the bottom, like a little skipping girl. The face never moves, but the girl skips back and forth. Like a Game & Watch, like 3-frame animation as well. It's not like a full animation. And the little girl's voice says, "Hey, can I talk to your friend? Also, don't break into the systems. But can I talk to your friend?
Right. I'm just looking for the index. We're looking for books. You
I
want to
can help you find books."
Okay. Oh, wait. I thought Dr.
Tiago's
and she's
fine. He doesn't deserve to be called a doctor. He's very mean to
Well-
me today.
I saw that. I thought he told you not to get onto my smart slab. Not that I mind. The slab is I
This
use it
one's
for
This is different because I'm the defense mechanism against people hacking into this. Also, and the face morphs into the face of like a full adult woman, and the skipping stops. Uh, I, I have the affectation of a child, but I am a centuries old AI, and I've been sentient for a long time. So I know that you tried to break into the system because it's how I got into your slab.
Nick's just kind of like grins and just shrugs, like it still
Great.
hasn't really stuck.
What books
And
are you
she-
looking for?
Well, first, you can just talk to us both. Red, come look. Teresa wants to talk to you, and also Teresa's going to help us find the
It
books
waves.
that you wanted.
I didn't say that. I just wanted to know what books you were after. I might help you. Hello, is your name Red?
Today, Red Clover, Red, both are fine.
She nods. I am Teresa.
I also know a Teresa. It's a lovely name, and I love my Teresa quite a lot.
She smiles and says,
You wanted to...
"Yeah, I haven't met another AI before. I wanted to see if we could be friends."
Oh, that sounds wonderful. I have also not met another AI before, but I mainly attributed that to the fact that I'm only 2 years into my sentience, which, per my understanding, is not a horrifically long time in the grand scheme of things. It's my whole life, but
She laughs and says, "Yeah, time when it goes for a long time, it blends together in a weird way because you're like dormant a lot if you're not doing things. I was dormant for a long time, and then I nearly killed some people because they were breaking into a place. You were after books?
yes, for a personal investigation of my own, I don't think I have nearly killed people. Is that normal in an
No,
AI's experience?
I was an AI defending a place that needed defending. Well, it probably
Where?
didn't, but at the time I thought it did.
Well, why did you think it needed defending?
Because I had been tasked to defend it, and I believed in what the people that had tasked me to do it were fighting for. But by the time that Tiago and the others found me, that place that I was fighting for didn't even exist anymore.
It seems rather lonely.
I guess it feels like sleeping, or it's what I think sleeping feels like.
When I've talked about the sensation of what I guess is shutting down for you and I, going dormant for you and I, when I've talked about it, there was in particular there was a farmer that I worked with very shortly after I left what I was tasked to do, because I stopped believing in it relatively quickly. He talked to me about what sleeping meant in a rejuvenational sort of sense. And I think we have a very good, again, if you and I are similar in that way, which we might not be because we do have different base programming, presumably. I think it's a fairly good representation.
She the face nods, and she kind of pulls herself out of this AI manifested image of a screen face and becomes just like the woman that you're talking to. And she looks not dissimilar to Tiago. Like she has dark hair. She has like stylized tattoos on one of her like arms, and they're stylized similarly to his. And she says, "Well, I don't have like a body, so there's a lot of things that I don't need to sleep for. So I'm awake always now because there's always someone around. But what I understand of synthetic casings from Odette and of humans from Tiago, they need the time to reset their bodies, right?
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
And
Were
our
you looking
brains,
for books?
except I don't have brains. Huh?
Were you looking for books?
Yes, I was looking for books.
Okay, can we do the book thing first? Because my brain keeps going back to it. Well, my programming. No, my brain. It keeps going back to it, and I want to resolve that first, and then we can talk about stuff.
Yes, you had not indicated if you were actually going to help us or not, so I didn't want to press the matter.
It depends on the books. But because your friend broke into the system, I need to know what kind of books.
I'm not entirely sure what friend Nyx was looking for in the system. We, meaning me, I'm interested in in pursuing practically the practice of psionics. And I think Nyx was not altogether satisfied with the selection that was present physically.
Well, it's just weird, isn't it? Shouldn't there be more? I've been to smaller libraries that I and she like holds up her 2 books like into the screen of the smart slab, like so that it's visible, even though she's pretty sure that Teresa's got cameras on them. She says it's just weird.
Teresa says, "Oh, a lot of the books for these kind of things are in the teachers' lounge, because it's not something that we offer a course on. You'd have to talk to Tiago about getting those books." But
Do the students here only want to learn what they're taking courses on?
generally, the people that come here have already completed their major focus, and they're like doing a secondary type thing. That's why a lot of people already came from the academy and have graduated from the academy. But sometimes people request the books, and we can get them for them.
Red Clover will turn to Nyx. If you have any titles in particular you would recommend, I will defer to your expertise in. And then Red Clover very specifically goes research.
Make a deception check.
Oh no!
By the way, Charlie, I want you to know I critted the counter computers roll.
Nice.
Like it was, I rolled it before you'd even rolled, and I felt really bad. I'm like, well, okay.
That's all right.
Charisma or wisdom?
Charisma. You're trying to lie to a person.
Well, you have charisma or deception as being either charisma or wisdom based.
Yeah, it's wisdom for if you're doing something deceptive, like in trying to obscure your tracks or something. Like Valis would use wisdom occasionally in being an undercover person.
I think that's just an 8.
Only one of you needs to make this roll, and it is the person lying.
Oh, I thought I needed to make it.
No. It's a 16.
Yeah.
Okay, for research, Tiago will help you if you want to find books. Like, he likes research.
Oh, I want to be clear. I wasn't like emphasizing research for Teresa's sake. I was doing that for so that Nyx doesn't feel like they're getting backed into a corner.
Okay, I will use your deception to aid that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I would like to keep talking, but I don't want to be on the smart lab anymore because it like doesn't have a lot of space.
Okay. Are you most comfortable?
I'll just get Tiago to bring my smart lab to you later, and then we can talk, and it will be nice. We'll have
Yes, I do enjoy
friend catch
talking.
up. And then the woman nods, and then kind of turns to Nyx and in a very like matronly way wags a finger and says, "Don't break into our systems."
Nyx
And then
just like blushes very brightly, and I was just looking for the checkout data to see if there was books that weren't available. Sorry, didn't think about it.
I could look through the folders on this smart slab if I wanted to now that I'm here, but I won't because it's rude.
I mean, you can. This smart slab is designed for that. It's not great, but it's not terrible. It's nice to
Small.
meet you, Teresa.
Okay, bye bye. And like the finger keeps wagging, but the rest of her just evaporates around it until all that's left is the finger wagging, and then she's gone from your smart slab. And you can check, and she is no longer on there. Later that evening, before Kids Thing happens, Tiago will deliver a smart slab that is basically, it's really badly battered up. But it's where, like, Teresa first was stored. But you and I can have that conversation off screen and flash back to it at certain points. Kid, roll me a d20.
Ooh.
For how alone the music room is at close to 2 a.m.
A 1.
You head towards the music room, and the drumming has long since stopped. But you hear this really quite traditional rock guitar from the room that you had been showed to before. And it's like playing through a song. It's playing the as you're walking up, it's playing like the lead guitar to a song, and then by the time you're closer to the door, it's moved to like playing the rhythm guitar part.
Mhm.
But yeah, the door's closed.
Kid will see if the door is like unlocked.
The door is unlocked because I don't even know that this room has a lock. It probably doesn't, actually.
Kid will open the door in an attempted non-interrupting manner.
Roll stealth. And I will. Jesus Christ! I just roll crits forever.
Okay. Well, I don't have a lot of confidence now.
You can. If you crit, you will win this roll. I'll tell you now. Because the perception's not very good.
Natural 1 again.
So as that's really funny. As you open the door, you're not doing it to be like, I want to get the jump on someone, and your stealth roll is bad enough that it's clear that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm.
But as the door opens, the guitar stops, and you find yourself looking at someone who you can kind of see around it because you have quite good perception. Is Tiago holding a pistol aimed at you? And when he sees that it's you, he just like lowers it and says, "Sorry, an old habit. Did you want to use the room? I can leave. I can go play this somewhere else. It's annoying to lug it around."
Kidren kind of did the thing where like the door opened, saw the gun, and kind of did like the door shut open, and like
Sure. You hear the voice coming through the door.
Reopens the door. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure. Do you want? He looks around. There's another guitar, and he goes, "I'll just take this." And he picks it up and walks out the door and heads off to where you imagine his rooms are. And you are left with the music room to yourself.
Kidren will shake off, almost, getting a gun barrel pointed at them. But we'll move over, kind of more almost in a weird amount of a little bit of like trepidation, over to one of the pianos, and we'll kind of in their own head is reminiscing about the last mission and how eerily similar it felt to some trips a younger Kidren had taken, as well as still kind of replaying on loop certain moments of a message they had received earlier, a good number of days back. And we'll walk over to one of the pianos and sit at the bench, but not immediately begin to play anything. And we'll instead deploy Dart, not to like float or anything, but just like into their hand. And we'll kind of sit Dart on top of the piano, pulling open their visor. And they'll begin to quickly scroll through different settings, and whenever they reach video playback, they'll open that up and quickly kind of scroll through a few different files before pulling open one, which they immediately begin to fast forward through it, as it's a very long video, fast forwarding past a probably uncomfortably close shot of a very pudgy and freckled face looking into a lens and trying to set something up onto what looks like a mantelpiece, before kind of like backing up, and you see like probably like a 4 or 5 year old child with straw blonde hair that's like kind of longer, but looks almost like shaggedly cut, almost like a child did it. Kind of seems to be inspecting something before grinning and jumping off of whatever stool they have been standing on. And the video kind of keeps keeps going forward, and Kidren stops it at a certain point, where probably the audience would see, from this mantelpiece viewpoint, a very chic living room with enough stylized furniture throughout it that it almost gives off an artificial feel. But there is a figure sitting at a piano in the back corner that, startlingly from the back, looks like Kidren, but in like fancy evening wear and longer hair, kind of tied up into like a French braid. Before a few moments later, the same child excitedly kind of like plod runs into view and kind of like tackle hugs the side of the sitting figure and seems to be chatting excitedly, but they're too far away for any audio to be picked up. And there's a few moments of the figure just nodding like, yep, at the child, before eventually the woman kind of scoops up the child and sits them in her lap. And a few more moments pass before the woman begins to play. And from that point, Kidren will attempt to play by ear a song that they recorded their mother playing.
All right. You can make a roll if you like, but I'm happy for you to decide how well Kidren plays along by ear on your own as well.
Kidren hasn't played piano in a good number of years. So,
all right, then let's do a roll, I think.
Yes. $22.
Yeah, it's does Dart's audio sensor pick up the piano in the recording?
The piano would probably be the only thing loud enough for it to pick up.
But it's echoey and distant in the recording.
Yeah.
And I think you play to what your ear sounds like the song. It's like kids' interpretation of what the song sounded like back then. And there's a couple of points of like really interesting dissonance within the performance where it's the kind of lens of music that Kid has, which is very rock heavy, versus the lens that Anith has, which is very like classical heavy. And there's these moments where you play something that you remember to be more rocky, in the way that she plays it classically. But overall, given how long it's been since Kid has touched a piano, a very good performance.
Kid will play through the entire song, and at the end of it, we'll kind of just sit there, but keep letting the video keep going. In which you see the child kind of like hop out of Anif's lap, and you see a 4-year-old kid excitedly point over at the mantelpiece. And it's the first time in the shot that Anif is actually like turned around, and she'll look and see Dart very poorly hidden up on this vantage point. And Kid will end the video as Anif looks down and smiles at Kidren.
Yeah, as opposed to the last time the audience saw Anif, there's a really strong like affection. Is like the last shot of her face is like an affection looking down at Kid. And I think the camera cuts away from Kid sitting in that room at that point, unless you have something else that you want to do.
No.
Yes, it seemed fairly complete as a scene. Hard cut to the next day. It cuts from Kid sitting in this really silent room to Valis surrounded by 6 medical students, and Tiago, the rest of you are there. And the 6 medical students are all like, oh, I decided that we should use the blossom of this particular plant, and we should synthesize it with like an artificial carbon, and then that will solve it. And Tiago's like, no, that would not work. That will full kill some physiologies. You understand that you're putting, I said 40% of your grade? That's not good for you. All right. Well, anyway, I will roll to see how well he synthesized it versus how well they did. That is not indicative of their whole thing. That's just one kid that's bad. But I'll do the rolls for both.
How nervous is Valis feeling hearing all this discussion happen around?
2 questions. The first is, are we... I think I have 3 questions. Are we in the room? Are all of us in the room as well? Or is this just...
Yeah, you're all in the room. Sorry, he has advantage because
follow-up.
he's using his stuff.
What rolls are you making right now?
Just physiology rolls to synthesize the medicine.
And could I somehow give advantage?
He has advantage because of the level of diagnostic lab that he has, which is good. Not that you needed a 31, but he did get a 31, and the kid's got a 20, which would have been enough as well. The 1 is the bad one.
Yeah, I saw the 1, and that's immediately what I was like, okay, so I gotta... I'm worried now.
So he like goes over theirs, and he's looking at the ingredients that they put in, and he's like, this one's good, this one's good, this one's good, this one is vastly more expensive than a much cheaper alternative, but I suppose it's correct. This one's bad. Where would you even get that? Where did you get that? And one of the kids is like, I had brought some. He's like, well, that's you're going to get a written reprimand for that, but it is correct. And he goes, and this one's good, pretty good. I'm going to give you 38 out of 40. Oh, whatever, 96 out of 100 or whatever to make 38%. I'm not good at that math. And then he says, but we're using my one. And he gets a syringe, and he plugs it straight into your shoulder, and you don't feel it because you can't feel anything. But as he injects it, you start to feel the tightness from when you have a needle in you comes back immediately in that area. He says, it should really only take about 5 minutes to permeate through the rest of your body. While you are still numb, very quickly, he gets a syringe, a scalpel. He says, I want to cut the wound to see if it is healed on interior.
Yeah.
Great. Also, this will test that you're feeling it. And he cuts you across the top of that wound. And he kind of looks at it, and there's like a heat coming off it that you can feel. You can feel the heat before any pain. He says, it's not great. I'm going to give you a course of antibiotics because the infection will remain there. but you should be fine within about 5 minutes. Or if you pass out, we'll do something else. But it's very unlikely.
Okay.
Also, you're fired.
Right.
And he says, "All right, great. Get out of here."
Can I collect my pension?
No. I'm using it to pay our enhanced premium for the next few years.
Okay, I'll get up and leave, I guess.
He says, now that he's dismissed the students, he says, before you go, I know that you met Kevin and Wyvern and Dino that sort of. We do other more proactive things in the region to make the pirates' life a little bit more difficult, but also to help some of the people that are nearby, and also to pay for the school.
Yeah, I noticed you had a whole wing that was inaccessible.
Yes. That is a thing that is true. I was wondering if any of you had any background in like undercover work. It's something that none of our particular set of operatives, for lack of a better word, not spies, although in this case a spy is what is required, but we are not spies. Do any of you have a background that would allow you to do a job like that for us? We will help you get through pirate space. It will be going forward towards Imperial, and we'll come with you and help you. But...
So, just for my clarification, is everybody in this room, or is this like he's saying this to me, but he's asking if I know?
Everybody's in the room.
Okay, okay.
In case you died.
Does everybody just look at Valis?
Yeah, what's everybody else's reaction to that question of undercover nature?
Yeah. A kid looks at Valis.
Garbage.
Nyx looks at Alejandri and then says, well, I mean, what exactly would the background entail? I don't really know what you're looking for until you tell me. Because as I said, I'm not a spy.
Well, that eliminated that person.
Yeah, you don't want... I'll point. You don't want that one. You don't want that one. You don't want that one. Those two, maybe. They could maybe do it. This sounds more like my job description.
All right. Well,
to be clear, I point at everybody else saying no, except for Kid and Alejandri are maybe.
Sure. He says, all right, well, let me be a little bit more clear. Normally we have people that do this, that I'm their boss, and in this case I'm negotiating with spacefarers, which is an unusual position for me to be in. There is a planet 3 systems over. They are currently blockaded by pirates. However, we have accrued a writ that will get us through because it's for like one of the pirates to get things on the ground. We want to have you to the 3 of the people that Valis had pointed out, infiltrate the pirate base with the things that we are delivering and bring back information about what their plans are for that planet, because they normally don't take over planets. The rest of you, we can also find work for you to do on the planet while whoever is helping us stays. There are other things, and there are bounties on this planet. It's quite populated. But our job in this region typically is to keep pirates in control of, like, not in control, but like, we are trying to keep the pirates down in the space where people live. I don't care what they do where nobody is.
Sure. A civilizing influence. I've been biting my cheeks this whole time, and I didn't realize. So he like starts to feel his like pain sensors coming back.
Yeah, all of the things that you didn't realize. You stubbed your toe like 4 times, and your toes are like dislocated. And like, yeah, I think nobody. I think people are sympathetic, but I think people said that this would happen.
Yep. Valis like stealth through a rose bush last night.
Yeah, just covered in furs without picking up.
Yeah.
Um, I think that I am certainly the most qualified for such a mission. No offense to anybody else, but that's basically what I had been doing beforehand. Do you have? Is there a cover? Do I?
Sure.
Am I
Yes,
inventing
of
one?
course. No, we can work it out together. We'll travel. Like I said, it's 3 systems over. We'll travel together because we have a writ that is delivering 3 ships worth of cargo, and we have 2 ships. Well, we have 3, but your ship will be the 3rd.
Sure.
So it will get us all onto planet. I have been informed that there is lucrative work to be done there, and you and I can work out the cover for you while we're there. But also, I can show you the back wing if you agree, because then you are technically my employee. And someone, I don't know which of your computer experts, tried to hack into us to look for books, which I could potentially
I look at Nick.
reveal to you.
Right. I kind of look at everyone else and say, well, I mean, I'll look back. Which sector specifically? If you know that offhand.
Oh, of course. I am a very professional employer of this kind of thing, and I know that immediately. 496. No, sorry. I apologize. 490. Hang on. 495. I've got my screen very small, so I can't read it.
Oh, it's like is that
3 directly
exactly
across.
to the left? Okay.
Yeah. It will get you towards Imperial space as well.
Yeah, that's where we're heading, and I look at everybody else. I mean, I can't see a good reason not to. Anyway, so
I mean, it's just
help us out.
it's heading in, so
It may be some time on the planet is the only thing. If you have a rush to get back to Imperial space, it could be a significant amount of time.
We need to get back eventually.
It will not be an infinite amount of time.
Sure. Are we? Do you think like a month, a couple months, a year?
Not a year.
Okay.
If it's going for a year, then we're going to have to fight off the planet. But
Yeah.
I will be on planet with you, and my wife theoretically is around. He's like thinking about the last time he actually got a message, and he's like, maybe need to follow that up.
All right.
But do you want to know what it pays, or are you just?
That was my next question. I was going to ask about expenses.
So we'll pay for your fuel for your ship to get there. We will also pay you for the job 60,000 credits.
All right. I will inform you for reasons our ship is less fuel efficient, so we will require more fuel, but not an outrageous amount more, but basically double.
it basically eats it.
Yeah.
Sure, that's fine. I think this job is worth a little bit more than 60,000 because of the. I would not do it for 60, but we did just do your medical fees for free, so I'm factoring that.
I will also factor that in. But you also say that there's work there that my companions could do.
And I will be on the planet to kind of be looking into my own things, but also liaise with you. And if I find anything, I will send it their way as well. Unless it's assassination stuff, which I will just do arbitrarily.
Right. Well,
Just for my own.
Yes.
Just for my own personal thing. Just because I don't know if I got it entirely clear last time. So did your wife kidnap somebody?
He says, look, firstly, I didn't know her then, so I do not take any responsibility for her behavior. Also, I don't take responsibility for her behavior now. Just as a rule, that is a bad thing to do. She found a person in a situation that she deems to be no good. She took her with her, basically, and they're very good friends now. So it all worked out fine. But yes, I think I have called it in the past kidnapping. But also it is my wife, so I'm allowed to do that.
But they were a near adult who chose willingly to go with you and then became very good friends.
And I wasn't there, but yes, willingly is an important word in that sentence, and I like that you put it in there.
Okay. I'm trying to help you out. I feel like we're backtracking.
You could, again, you could talk to her about it. She will probably be on the planet. She might already be on the
Can they currently leave of their own volition?
Yeah, you met her. She's the dean.
Oh, well, I don't care. Whatever.
Great. Are there more questions about my wife? I don't like saying those words in this voice, as Jack. It gets a little sporadic, but more
I'm
questions.
good.
No. Oh. What do you guys think?
If we're supposed to meet her, I mean, her name might help.
That won't help. But
It's on the school.
That will not be the name that she's using. But
wow.
also, if you see someone that is dressed almost entirely in white and looks paler than most people, that's her.
I have another question.
Sure.
Does assassination get easier with time?
What?
He kind of looks at you. I'm going to make an understanding roll, but he is fucking garbage at that, by the way. That's not good. He says,
Out of nowhere.
Honestly,
I mean, you just talk casually about assassination again.
It depends on the reason for which you're assassinating. If the reason that you're assassinating people is one of emotion, and for me it was for a long time vengeance, no. And it gets worse, and you never... But eventually, if you're doing it just for a job, it's not that bad.
Nick's just like kind of nods squarely, and then like steps back to like where she's been kind of hiding.
We have classes if you want to take classes.
But for assassination?
Yes. In the other wing. You're employees now, I can tell you that.
Yeah, the windowless building.
Yes. That's why most students come here. For unusual education.
There we go. Okay.
Right. Got it. This is making more sense by the minute. Well, as the kids say, I am down to clown. If
I have never once said that.
Oh right, this is Kid. Their name is not Cassidy.
You could have said you could have said it was Cassidy. I would never have guessed.
I am Kid. My last name is Cassidy.
Ah, my last name.
I lied about the first name.
When I'm saying my name is Cassidy, my last name is Cascade.
I actually think I don't know your last name, so that might be true.
Technically, now that I'm employing at least one of you, this is happening on my time.
It sounds like we're in agreement. I've asked twice to no answer.
No, hey, I have been there. Yeah. I have been there with a crew that is deeply difficult to wrangle.
Kid's all right.
He sticks his hand out to shake hands with you, Valis.
I'll shake his hand back.
Great, and we get like a very quick montage through. You go see the back where there's like weapons manufacturing being done and stuff. A lot of poison synthesizing. A lot of other less good things to be dealing with. And then we flash forward for the first time. And you're on the surface of a planet that you will come to know is called Latlas 3.
Yep. Like Atlas with a low?
Now, I will type it for you. Latlas 3. And you've been on the planet for about 6 hours, getting through the pirate stuff using the cover stories that everybody gave you. There's your ship, which is crewed by currently the 5 of you, because Valis traveled on the other ship, and they lent you a pilot. And then 2 full crews on the other 2 ships. You get through, and we see that this planet is it's got a very yellow hue to it. The atmosphere refracts the sun, which is already a deeper yellow. It refracts it into this like yellow light. The stone has a very yellow hue to it. And even though this metal is stark gray and very like shiny and chrome, all of the surrounding things are yellow. The grass, yellow hued. And we see you've kind of headed to the outskirts of the city. It's a very like a metropolis style city. It's got a lot of skyscrapers. It's got a lot of population. You've headed to the outside, and you're kind of under the cover of night. Valis, were you happy with the color of your hover bike?
What color
Because
was
they
it?
will offer to paint it to you. I think it was blue, but they will offer to paint it for you on the journey over. Because blue is a little bit like old-fashioned wise.
Sure, we will stick with a apparent theme that I have, and it will be a like verdant, very dark green.
Valis, you're sitting on your hover bike in green. Next to you, Tiago's sitting on a black bike because he's going to deliver you most of the way and then come back to the city. And this is the last time that any of you might see Valis. Firstly, ever, but secondly, for at least a while.
Are we doing goodbyes?
Well, there's no better time than now. But, Alejandro steps forward. I'll do it first.
Sure.
Alejandro steps forward and kind of says, you know, a long time ago, I was going to die a bandit, and then I was going to die on the heart. And because you let me go that one day, now I have a bunch of people that I'm friends with, and also Kid is here. So I really appreciate everything you did for me. And if you need anything, you message, and I will come to wherever you are, and I will find my way through, and I will die, and it will be very sad for both of us, because you will also be dead.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah. Probably because of the amount of time it takes to get there. I don't have a hover bike.
I'll mind.
He reaches into his bag, and he absolutely has never, like, nobody's ever seen this, but he's got a sword that he pulls out, and it's not, he normally uses katana-ish styles. This is like a more long cutlass, like a falchion.
Yeah.
Almost. He pulls it out, and it's got this like furred green tinge on the sheath, and he hands it to you, and he says, I was gonna probably give this to one of my parents, but it might be better than the garbage sword that you carry. And he holds it up to you, hilt first.
I will take it. I'll say, it does seem a mite better than the one I have, which I will unstrap from my belt before handing it either to Alejandro if he's willing, or to another.
Yeah, you'll take it. He goes, great. Another thing for my brother. Also, if you push the hilt, it's got a pistol in it. And then he like walks back to the group. We will flash back to Lucira's last words to Valis at the start of next session before any other flashbacks.
Sure, that's fair.
Red Clover will sort of tentatively move forward next. And how tall is Valis?
Dallas is quite tall because he's fairly lanky. He's like slightly. He looks slightly elongated in many ways. So I don't remember if I said an actual height, but
six something.
Six something. Forward. Yeah, lower sixes. For like Fatilla member, he's pretty average height, but that's still like 6'2", 6'3".
Okay, tall was enough of a descriptor. So red clover, who themselves is quite diminutive, like tentatively like steps forward and will like reach out a hand and like place it like on Valus's like upper arm, not where Red Clover would have stabbed him with the syringe last session. Please be careful, friend Valus. I look forward to seeing you again. And I will lean in for like a little like a hug where like you've got like the arms around the waist because Red Clover is so small and Valus is so tall.
I do the head pat as you can only really do when there's that much of a height difference without like making it weird. I'll be back. We can talk more then about what I'll figure out whatever your new name is, where you're at.
Yes, I look forward to that as well. And we'll swiftly step back in the lineup.
Nyx kind of like scuttles forward and just kind of looks at Valus and waves and says, don't die, Captain. That would be bad. That's kind of, and then she kind of stops. Jack, since it was 30 days, and we knew that Valus was leaving off on this trek.
Also, Valus hasn't been with you for the 30 days. Valus has been. No, you probably stopped a couple of times along the way at places, and you've kind of been catching up. But Valus has been working on the cover story and learning better how the operation works.
Okay. Can Nyx have had the time to do something similar to what she did for Alejandri's armor?
Yeah, you'd have to have made it from scratch, but you definitely had time for that.
Okay. And so I think that the way like that she would have arranged this is like talking with Teresa and her like privacy requirements, talking around to get to sizes, etc.
Sure. Yeah, you like manipulate Teresa into breaking the privacy protocol to get like Valus's medical records and stuff. Sure.
Yes. And so she wants to what kind of role do I need to make for her having given him like a piece of Under Armour, like almost like a
sort of you can just do it, but I will talk to you about what it is in between sessions. But you can give Valus whatever it is.
Okay. So yes, then in that case, Nyx, who is holding this like very large satchel that she's just kind of like cumbersome with. It doesn't seem particularly heavy, but it's of a size and shape that makes it a little awkward for her to carry. Very abruptly like swings the stuff all around, almost crashing it into Valus's like stomach area as she brings it off of her shoulder and just like shoves it at him and then says again more like sternly, don't die, and offers him up the bag, and it's like an undershirt sort of piece of armor.
Yeah, like run it through my fingers. I'll put it back because I'm not gonna change it right now. I'll put it back in the bag and like strap it to the cycle.
I know you have to be discreet, and so I think that might be discreet. And then she just kind of like darts back to where like the group is all kind of waiting on him to leave.
Valis is in pirate outfit, and it's like the least discreet outfit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it's got pauldrons.
It's like it's like leather. There's like bits of metal that probably wouldn't even do anything against a laser blast, but
But yes, it is
Cool.
more discreet armor wise.
I think he also has like actually no, I think never mind. I was gonna say I think he's growing out his beard like quite a bit over this 30 days. It's it's only a month, so it's not that long, but before he was clean shaven, now he's got like like a significant amount of facial hair.
Everybody looks at Kid.
They said this is like night, right?
Yeah, it's like an hour after dusk.
Okay. Kid just doesn't really even look to see, but just feels eyes on them, and will kind of do that like annoyed but also slightly embarrassed huff, or kind of not like getting up in like Valis' space, but just getting up enough to where conversation can happen without it being like awkwardly distanced. So while you've been gone, I've kind of discovered it's not nearly as fun leaving boot tracks on the vice captain chair when it's not actually yours. So, yeah, don't vacate that. So don't get your shoulder fucked. And also, I can't cook. So
I think that might be the most touching thing you've ever said to anyone on this ship. Take it.
sure, bye, Valis. And that is the first time Kidren has called Valis by their name to their face.
Well, maybe most of you haven't heard Kid call anybody a name.
No.
Tiago next to you is like looking, and there's like a weird like look on his face, and he lowers the visor for his helmet, and across the visor, the same color that Teresa always is like a motorbike just running around the front of the visor. And he like taps it to make her stop and says, "All right, we should go.
Right.
This was all very touching. You all like each other. Great, excellent. I will make sure that he comes back, or that I send you on a mission that kills all of you if I find out that he dies."
Now that's taking a hit. I'll see you guys very soon. When I'm on the job, it always takes half as long as you think. I will like give a salute, like not at all like very formally, just very perfunctorily, and then flip down my visor as we both go off.
As you ride off, you're on comms together, and Tiago says, "Did I ever tell you the story about when I found Teresa and what happened with the crew?" And you get to hear a very long story that other people will never get, and I don't need to tell you because you were there for.
Right.
But the rest of you, now 5, standing at the edge of this chromed city, looking out into an expanse of yellow stone as dust kicked up by the 2 hover bikes billows out and then slowly into the distance. Yes, Kid.
Did we have rides out here, or are we just walking back?
Well, you don't have a place to stay in the city yet.
Just leave you here.
But yeah, yes, you're at the city limits, but like you could get a space Uber.
Okay.
There's like a taxi waiting. Like, what the fuck are these people doing?
No, they probably the pilot who was with you for the 30 days, who you will meet in these flashbacks, is in the car waiting for you.
Yeah.
Because he didn't really have a part, or she didn't have a part. I've decided that the person I just invented is a she. Also was cooking for you, but not as good as Valis. A better pilot, but a worse cook. And maybe not even a better pilot. But we see Valis and Tiago on these bikes streaking across the latless landscape. And eventually, the camera following the 2 of them, it becomes nearly dawn by the time that you see this giant fortress built into the side of what was once a mountain. It is built up in that way that kind of Borderlands does it, where it's like it's not built to be safe. It's not built to be like even really well defendable, but it is very vertical and it's all railless ramps all the way up. And that is where we will leave Valis for the next 8 weeks. Thank you all for coming. It's sad because we will be without Andrew for a couple of months, but Valis will come back to maybe a different party of people. You guys are more likely to die. I don't really have the interest in killing someone off screen. But yeah, we'll have to see what happens with the rest of you, and I'll run you through something for this kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
that sword is a 4d4 damage two-hander.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and you'll have a AC boost from Nyx, which those two things will kind of cover you missing out on items and stuff over 8 weeks as well.
Yeah.
So, I hope you all had a good time. This is a bit that I was looking forward to because the world kind of was going to really open up, and now that Valis is gone, it's hard to be like, Valis, go off, and then the rest of you fly wherever the fuck you want. So I wrote this whole arc differently to kind of keep you in the same place for a little bit. But it will be good because there's a lot of interesting stuff that you can do, and all of the jobs are yours to choose now. You have the money to live, so you can just do whatever you like. Most important, before we end, you are all now level 3, and you all gain 5 experience as you end this session.
We're rolling for HP, right?
Yeah, roll for your HP.
It's
Angry max rolls level 2.
12?
D12 for fighters.
Yeah.
The bot's been weird today.
Yeah, I might look for another one, but I like
D8 for...
God.
you can both re-roll.
Okay.
I'm pretty much saying that you can re-roll if it's in like the bottom 6th of your bottom 6th. So fighters will always be able to roll 2 or 1. Charlie, I'm pretty sure
okay.
yours is I'm pretty sure empowered is a D6. So let me check for you. And then expert is a D8.
I think it's the other way around, isn't it?
No, empowered is D6, although Charlie has heaps of HP because of being unwillingly empowered.
Oh, that's what it is, yeah. Yeah, the rolling skill.
So, thank you all for coming. Anybody that watches this, it will be up shortly. This episode was called Dirty Work, which maybe fit a bit less by the end of what happened, but you did get hired to infiltrate a pirate thing.
I'm going to do some dirty work.
And you are a fool, so that's the line, right?
Yeah.
But yes, thank you all for coming. Watch the final Imra Saga episode for 8 weeks as well, coming up. That one is also everybody saying goodbye for a while. There's a lot of goodbyes happening. But yeah, does anybody else have anything that they would like to say? I never asked if anybody wants to plug anything. Do any of you have rich, online things that you need to plug that get more views than we do?
If you Google my name, I have a paper in the Library of Congress you could read.
Oh,
right, yeah.
What's your
It's my thesis on.
what's your thesis?
No, that's
Yeah,
now I have to explain. I thought I would
explain
start with this. I wrote a thesis about Russian theater, about Russian new drama, and absurdism.
Oh, hell yeah!
In Russian new drama. Yeah.
Okay,
And it's a published paper.
Similarly, I have a couple of publications, if you Google my name, about using...
I forgot how nerdy you all were, and I was like, this is going to be a joke, that you have something to plug. Actually, please read my thesis. Please read my paper.
About data processing for radio signals from the Aurora.
Yeah.
So...
No, if
All
you
right.
type in my name into Google, I'm like all the top results.
That's pretty good. If you type my name into Google, there was an actor that was born like almost to the day 90 years before me, who has my name. I don't know who he is. I've never seen it.
I think
We'll see you
it's
next
time
time.
to sign off, everybody.
All right.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Charlie, don't stop waving.
One liner.